Everyone, back to the ADL week number 6. Regular season has just ended. We are now into the playoff stretch. We're not quite there yet. We have a qualifier week still to come. The math for these two teams, very, very simple. You win, and you're in. If you lose, you are gone. Quacks, thank you for joining me on this wonderful Monday. How do we feel looking at these two teams? Los Cojones, and I've lost them. I've lost them entirely. Thank you.
So, looking at these two teams, we've seen some struggling from them, Rue. Honestly, Los Cojones sitting at that 1-4, and then Solo Q Sobriety sitting at 2-3. So, you said it earlier, math is extremely simple. You win, you're in. You lose, you're done. You fall off the cliff, and there is no getting back up. You can sit at the summit with the rest of the teams that have qualified for the playoffs. So, that means it's the last week of the regular season here, Rue. We are in right around the corner to playoffs territory. This is where it starts to get extremely cutthroat into the ADL. We're going to look at our first team, Los Cojones. Like I said earlier, sitting at 1-4. The roster right here, 99 ping. That Korean syllables name is going by Bo3. So for future reference, for those of you watching, CJ the Awesome in mid, Moose in 80 carry, and then not Milkshake in support. One of their subs being Cluster Bang on the bottom of your screen right there is going to be filling in for this best of 3. So this squad not necessarily at full strength here. And then Solo Q Sobriety, it is actually not Balzac at top lane. It is the man himself, not here today. It is going to be 129 their support in top lane, LL Clasper in jungle, the good Samaritan in mid, and then Zoro 80 carry with their sub, Rexy, I believe is how you pronounce it, in the support role. Yeah.
Sorry. A little bit of an awkward start there. I did a big mistake on production, and it looks bad for them. It is actually my mistake, so I'm sorry about that. As we do head on into draft game number 1, Rexy, as you point out, going to be support 129 on the top lane as we head into this very interesting draft phase. Of course, running fearless in best of 3 for this week. Transition to best of 5 soon, but not quite yet, I do believe, as we are headed in. First ban going to be Ivan.
Yeah, so Ivan being taken off the table. We know that Clasper likes to play a lot of these more unorthodox supports, things like the Urgot, things like the Mundo. Viego is a carry jungler that he also has the potential of pulling out. And so I am wondering, with that in mind, if maybe these are actually switched, because Solo Q Sobriety actually banned out the Urgot. So we'll wait to see if these are indeed the correct sides, because I'm not sure the bans are matching it, because it would be very strange for SQS to be banning away their junglers, one of their junglers' best picks.
Yeah, it's a Rumble ban. Okay, it's not an Urgot ban, it's a Rumble ban. We have been told by on high that it is a Rumble ban. That makes a lot more sense. 99 paying 100 games on Rumble this year. 51 wins, 49 losses. Very confident on that top lane. Even though he has been nerfed almost into the ground, still something you have to be careful of, especially as you get stronger opponents. You expect that they're able to play things that maybe aren't in the meta all too much anymore, still to a very good effect. We get Talia and Ziggs also gone, Neferi and Aurora.
Just a lot of strong, I would say, duelists here for SQS being banned away from them, or by them, rather. I should say the Aurora going to join them. And then I think Los Cojones maybe have a different idea, banning away the Talia and then the Ziggs. So these really powerful AP threats that could potentially, knock down someone with a global ultimate. Not necessarily global Grand Starfall, though. Basically an honorary global ultimate, and then an immediate predictable response. It is not banned. It is actually picked. The Urgot picked here for SQS, and likely going to be in the hands of Mr. Clasper. So already we got the jungle matchup here, and Pantheon, one of the best in the role currently, if not the best. We saw him so much at MSI for a reason.
Yeah, we did, though, with how many games they played, how many different combinations. By no means the only jungle that's viable right now. It's just, such good survivability as well as that extra damage that you have. Using that passive is how you differentiate yourself from your average Pantheon to really get into that higher tier. Up against an Urgot, though, I don't think anyone's really familiar with this matchup. I'd be shocked if you were, unless you are the Urgot, because who plays Urgot jungle right now? It's basically this one guy and no one else. Clasper is in a league of his own for playing that, but his most recent games have been pretty crazy. He's gone 8-1-5 and 23-3-9. That is disgusting.
Dang. I mean, Urgot as well, we've seen it a couple of times from some of the higher tier junglers. I do know that there's a player that is named Evan Lai who really likes to go Urgot jungle along with things like the Jarvan. So has a lot of, dual potential, obviously, as Urgot does, especially after he gets that level 11. Doesn't really have a ton of gank potential, though, right? Is very lacking in the CC department. So I am expecting Solo Q Sobriety to give him some lanes that allow him to cover the distance or give him the opportunity to take some of these crazier angles on red side to be able to pull off some stuff here in the laning phase and have an impact in the first 14 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I wonder how MF Braun could set up for that kind of, free CC to get that Urgot into your lane. If you hit Winter's Bite, it's guaranteed you're going to get that stun at some point. And the bullet rain can only help, right? A little bit of extra slow is going to help out a ton, even if that Jhin is going to be very far away. On the other side, also Los Cojones locking in the Kennen as well. So taking their top blind, they knew they'd have to do it eventually, taking it early rather than later.
Yeah, so LC going to be grabbing that one up. There are a couple of answers into the Kennen. Obviously, anytime you see a mage in the top lane, I think that the immediate, professional answer would be something like a Galio, because it has been the perennial counter to things like the Rumble whenever you look at pro play. But I don't think we have any Rumble here from the Solo Q Sobriety squad, which is more than likely going to point to 129, likely either trying to match with the range or match with the champion that has a gap close, both of which can help him and again help that Urgot have more agency in this laning phase to try and snowball this game out of control. Because I really have to think, if you are SQS, you gotta get the ball rolling early before that Grand Starfall comes up, and Pantheon just has this global pressure, this global presence that is hard to judge when you're on the other side of that table.
It's really awkward to try and work out what 129 is going to go, as that is an awkward pick in its own right. Is that a good Samir special? That is absolutely insane. Is that Morgana mid? Or are we sending the Urgot top and putting Morgana jungle? Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking as well. I think it certainly is a possibility. We don't usually see 129 in the top lane role, so
yeah, could have a Morgana top.
He could have a trick up his sleeve that we don't know about. But LC are actually going to do something a little bit different and lock in the Jace on 4. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't opt to go for this sooner, because of him being a flex pick that I think is really respected in whatever elo he's drafted here for. So I would expect that the Kennen lock-in, that's probably going to be a Jace in the mid lane to potentially match the Morgana. Again, we don't know where this champion is going, and now we really don't know what's going on, as I guess that's Mel support? I think that's Mel support with Jhin. We're already starting the maze here for draft here, Rue. We're going to drive ourselves crazy.
I'm getting a word from on high that it is Kennen mid, so I'm going to have to assume that means Jace is going to be top, Mel support. Can't say I like the Mel support, especially something like Braum, right? Your point of CC is a thing that he can block with the door. It feels like you're playing into your own counter matchup by choice. I can't say I agree with that, as it is going to be a Kali locked last for SQS, not fading away from the AP damage at all. Morgana and Akali, the final 2 picks, as they've gone all in on some really interesting backline plays. Whether they can access that backline is going to be a whole other matter, though.
That is the difficulty, I think, because I think for Los Cojones, they're not really in a position, or they're not really in a position where they need to engage these fights, right? You've got the poke from the Jace, you've got the poke from the Mel, you've got the poke from the Jhin Deadly Flourish, as well as that ultimate to finish off any low HP targets. And I think this poke comp that Los Cojones have drafted is really cohesive. I think the biggest thing for me, the biggest challenge for LC is going to be, like you said, Rue, dealing with those flank angles from things like an Akali, potentially even an Urgot, depending on what keystone we actually see him take, if he's going lethality or if he's going just that full tank mode. here in, I would assume, the jungle. Again, we really don't know. Actually, top lane, I would assume now.
It could be, honestly, anywhere. I feel like the one thing we might know is that it's Akali and Tekken in mid. But even then, it feels like that's kind of tentative at best. Bot lane seems pretty confirmed, at least for SQS. MF Braum, a pretty solid lane. You can stack that Winter's Bite. You can really start getting those concussive blows landing. But beyond that, the rest of this whole draft is really up in the air, and I think I don't necessarily know who that favors, but it's reminiscent of these guys' seasons, right? They've not had the strongest seasons. Los Cojones coming into this at 1-4, locking up a fourth seed, while Solo Queue Sobriety were only 2 and 3, but got a 5th seed. It's how the divisions have worked out as we head into game number 1.
Yep, absolutely. As we are going to transition into that game right now, and kind of going back to the comps for a moment, as we actually see it, it is going to be Akali top with the Morgana mid and the Urgot jungle. I think the biggest difficulty for me, at least in regards to Solo Queue Sobriety's comp, is certainly going to be the lack of lockdown. Right, obviously you've got the passive from Braum, you've got the Q from Morgana, but that's really about it. There's no CC really from Akali that you can reliably latch onto as the Urgot. There's no real, big CC other than the Make It Rain slow from Misfortune. I think it's going to certainly be a question of class for picking and choosing the right moments, and maybe just realizing that his lanes aren't going to provide him a ton of gold here in the early game. Potentially just going to be a farm up to 11 for this jungle pick. And for the side of LC, we talked about it earlier, Rue. It's a poke comp. You poke down, you whittle them down, you get them all nice and I guess I should say squishy before the fight, and then maybe something like a Pantheon goes in and leads the charge.
Yeah, I wonder if that kind of ideology behind what your Urgot is expected to do is maybe why CJ has gone with the Ignite in this lane, looking a little bit more aggressive. Into a Morgana, it's difficult, right? Because you want to stack your passive, you want to get that stun, you want to get that massive CC late game as well. But in this lane phase, when Morgana has E, it's very difficult to play as the Kennen. Going for the Ignite in this lane, you can look for more kills, and maybe you don't think you need a TP because the chance of you getting ganked are pretty low.
I mean, I do think that is certainly a way to think about it. If you are CJ, chances of getting ganked are indeed low. You're expecting the Urgot to likely perform a full clear. You have that flash. You also have that lightning rush. So you have the tools to be able to get out of a dark binding against Samaritan. But really just feel like I struggled. I feel like I struggled to find an angle where this Ignite is going to be prevalent in the laning phase, actually pushing Samaritan off of a wave and maybe giving Bo3 an opportunity to make use of that prio. As I say that, and he actually does have prio, but we are not really in a position as this Pantheon to look for anything onto the Urgot. He will meet him on top crab, though, it looks like, so could see a future fight around that neutral.
A little bit slow coming out from that early clear from Bo3, only just transitioning up to the walls while the Urgot basically already on that red buff, so about half a camp ahead for the Urgot, but nothing a little bit of fast clear can't deal with. Should be able to compete for that crab, as you say, in about 30 seconds time. Whether you have his laners there to help him, though, or not is another matter. Right now, it looks like Bo3 has everyone in position to go up and fight if they want to. Mid has push, top has push. Urgot can try and sneak a crab, but if he does, it might be the last thing he does. And I think Classman may already know that, because he's smited away his second buff there.
There's also a ward in that tri-bush, so they will be able to spot out the Urgot, who is now just finishing his full clear. Maybe trying to help top 129.
That's an early flash. That is an early flash. Going forward, going aggressive into the Shroud and still having to burn a key summoner. Cannot be feeling good for the Akali, who went fleet footwork in this lane to try and sustain through all the Jace poke. Grasp Jace is the choice of the day, but right now it's working out perfectly. But the Urgot seems to be winning this fight. He's actually going to be doing... Sorry, you go for it. Like, I'm shocked. He has first blood. I don't know how he's got that. I don't know why he's there. I don't know how his laners haven't come to help, but CJ, way too late to rotate up, will finally kill off the Urgot. 99 ping, not even close, living up to the moniker by being halfway across the world.
I mean, it is a kill for Clasper. It's a solo onto the Pantheon. And honestly, Rue, I'm just as surprised as you. You have Prio in top, you have Prio in mid. I'm really surprised neither CJ or 99 Ping went to go help out this Pantheon and just go for this Urgot, immediately get what was, I was assuming, a free kill, especially after seeing him on that tri-bush. He basically had all the green lights to go ahead and get the pressure on it. CJ's flashing.
Oh, he's going to take turret shots. He will fall for it, but it's an execute. The Morgana didn't get a lick of damage in. That is a freebie for CJ. Pushes the wave in, gets the kill flash for flash, and gets executed for it. His bounty is completely unclaimed. It will still remain, though, as it was, of course, just the execute. But that is Good Samaritan really being punished for not anticipating the amount of damage coming through from the Kennen. Burns the flash, burns TP to get back to lane. You're now even in summoners, and you're just down in money.
Yeah. And it's also the Hex Tech Alternator picked up by CJ, which is a really big spike for some of these more audacious burst mages, such as the Kennen, who can really 100 to 0 you, especially with that Ignite, which was used. So I don't think we're going to be seeing the Kennen really have a ton of fighting, as there is actually fighting in the
around the Drake. There has bot push, though. One team, Los Cojones, is here. The other team is not, but still, SQS are making it work. The Braum finally comes in. Flash heal forward. Still cannot save Good Samaritan. It is a 1-for-1 so far, but that is a very caught out Mel on the top side. Moose does not get the kill with full shot either. Nice dodge of the Winter Spike, but he will still be chased down by the MF of Zorro. The bullet rain on the top will force out his flash, and they will also get the Drake on SQS, so they go 2-for-1 and get the objective.
Really good team play there by SQS. Sure, they sacrifice a piece on the board, but they get 2 in return. And yeah, I think a dragon, if we're using chess acronym, or if we're using chess terminology here, he's like a rook, like a bishop, maybe. I wouldn't call him a queen.
Being a bishop.
Reserve. Yeah, something like that. As it certainly feels like they won that trade. I think, though, that it's off of Los Cojones potentially having a bit of miscommunication on who to target. I mean, you had Clasper in the pit, no flash, dead to rights, and they go for the bot lane instead. Speaking of bot lane,
we're walking up very aggressively here. That's an awful trade for the Mel to take, and you cannot root this Braum when the door is in place. Moose will get a decent trade back, but that is Spellbook Braum. Expect him to change his summon as soon. Surprised he hasn't already done it, if I'm being honest. Maybe he did it without us seeing, but it's been 45 seconds where he's had that summoner available. A nice root connects this time onto Zoro, and that will be the cleanse. Well done there from Cluster, as back to mid we head. That is a Morgana with ult level 6. CJ already used his Slicing Maelstrom in that dragon play, did not get the kill, will not die this time either though, but should be taking a reset.
Yeah, is going to also shove in that wave. So Good Samaritan gonna deny a lot of pressure from mid and potentially pull Bo3 from his jungle to try and assist his lowly Kennen, but there is a ward there, and Clasper now has 6, so there could be a potential counter punch here by the jungler of SQS.
Bo3 using the empowered E to try and escape this one, but he's going to be pulled back. The Fear Beyond Death goes completely wide. The Slicing Maelstrom is going to get the kill as well. A massive misplay on his main from Clasper. That is completely unexpected. But I feel like this game, we have to expect the unexpected, because so far, nothing that we have thought has come true, and everything we thought was going to go right has just gone wrong.
It is a disaster for Clasper. As the man, he has a Dirk, he has a Retrix, he's so close to that first item. And as a lethality user, you really want to try and get your first before the 10 to 8 minute mark. You want to be there to at least fight the grubs. And that kill probably could have made the difference, but he's just not able to connect the Fear Beyond Death. And because of that, I don't know if he's going to be able to fight for this neutral. I mean, you can actually see Bo3 along with Clusterbang moving up toward that top side, using the push that 99 Ping has had on this chase basically all game. And it feels like the grubs are a foregone conclusion for Los Cojones.
Yeah, also support roaming up as well. Clusterbang is on the top side. There will be 3 of them up there to take those grubs. Have to isolate their Jhin just a little bit. No summoners, so he's going to be very, very careful, is Moose in that bot lane. But I think overall you're screaming worth, especially how much pressure this Jace has generated so far as well. Feels like he's been consistently pushing that Akali very, very deep. He's had Prio the whole game, and now you give him 3 grubs to really push that advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be the top side objective taken here by LC. This is really going to help out 99 Ping, who, like we said
nice
earlier,
route. No cleanse on the MF right now. Moose can't go further for the trade.
Yeah, so it's going to be more pressure applied here by Zoro. We can see Clasper on the bot side of the map, maybe trying to make an aggressive play. Samaritan as well, roaming. They're just getting vision around this area, but Clusterbang is in the area. Bo3 does have ult, so this dive could be risky. This is the danger that we warned SQS against with the Pantheon pick, that Grand Starfall. You just are constantly second-guessing yourself when you are on the potential receiving end of it. Is he in range to ult? If he's in range to ult, should we make this risky play? And it seems like the answer to that is going to be a solemn no. As SQS failed to get...
Clasper spent like a minute down here.
Yeah.
He's just wasting time. Unfortunately, his top side is up, and he is not able to farm it right now because he's been looking for this play for the past 60 to 90 seconds. It's been ages since he's farmed a camp. He does have Youmuu's Ghostblade on that base, so he didn't need to look for the gank to get his item at least, but it took him so long to not even find anything there. He hasn't lost out much because Pantheon was just clearing Boba, getting down towards his bot side. He can look for a play of his own now, though, while the Urgot's clearing top.
And but he is seen on the ward. There is going to be a dragon in about 20 seconds, as you can see on the top left of your screen. Clasper has flash, he has ult, so the tools are there for SQS to look for a fight, but it's a difficult one. I mean, CJ the Awesome, even though we haven't really checked in with the Kennen for a couple of minutes here, he's just been kind of, you know, resoundly farming in the mid lane. Does have that proto belt, does have that dark seal, does have that ultimate, and the slicing maelstrom is one of those R keys that you just can never underestimate, because you do, and you are going to be electrified, full of volts, and enough to power a small city.
Yeah, and it's a really odd thing when we look at the summoners chosen in this game. It's not the support of SQS that's gone exhaust to neutralize the Kennen. It's the support of Los Cojones who's gone the exhaust. Clusterbang choosing that as their summoner in the support as we look into the 3v3 going early. That is Clasper having to flash very early out of that tri-brush. Did not want to get caught out, and that should just be Drake given over.
Yeah, the fear of the triple root, the Pantheon having that empowered W option, enough to scare Clasper away, and SQS give up the second dragon. So it will be 1-to-1 in that neutral objective department, rather.
Oh, hello.
No, we're not done yet.
All the way over. Heal instantly used by Rexy. Let's see if he can survive this one. He cannot. He did try to use the Glacial Mist, did not get used. The curtains also get called on the Misfortune. Has cleansed if they get hit, but fourth shot is coming through. The root misses from Clusterbang, and they will get to survive. Both summoners intact, but still taking a whole lot of damage. And it's going to be Clasper down here to try and save the wave as well.
Oh, he's going in, but here's 1-9.
Flash in mid. Very late flash there from CJ. He should have realized that he was going to be in range no matter what, as the perfect execution comes through. 1-2-9 roaming down from top lane. Will pick up a freebie. An overextended Ken in the lane uses both summoners and just dies.
And that is such a good roam from 1-2-9. Sure, he surrenders a couple of minions. 99 ping as well. Whoa. Oh, hang on.
Oh, what a deadly touch. Oh, the ultimate from the Mel. Cross map. You don't need to be on the same screen as her to get that kill. Have to be careful bot, though, as Clasper is in the area. Braum as well to get the slows to set up this gank. Beautiful route, though, coming from Clusterbang, as that will be the retreat.
That's going to be a retreat, but 99 ping wants to try and make the difference. Won't be able to do so, though, as Rexy is going to drop the ultimate, dissuade any further aggression from LC. Really good timing, I actually think, from the Jace to look for a cross-map play. You see that Bo3 is on this top side, so we'll be able to at least prevent 1-2-9 from getting too many resources without punishment on the other side of the map. There's no neutral objective coming up as well for another 3.5 minutes, so this gives both teams, I would say, ample amount of time to just look for picks on the side, especially with, you know, no flashes on the mid laners. I think it would be really cool if Rexy and Clusterbang, as well as the junglers, obviously, looked to try and make the difference, just get push on that part of the map. And SQS are actually way ahead of this. They are just rotating their bot toward mid lane, giving Zoro more resources and guaranteeing that the wave swings their direction.
You already got that Bloodthirst as well. Massive item spike on the Misfortune. Whenever he takes damage, as long as he doesn't die, he's going to be fine. Just needs a couple of ways to farm back up to full HP. Have to be careful for Los Cojones not to overcommit on something like that, as that is CJ on the top side using Slicing Maelstrom just to escape. Clasper is incredibly squishy right now on the Urgot. We just saw him go from about 100 down to 10 on the Urgot. Not what you typically expect, especially when we see an Urgot in the top lane, but he is just level 8 and he is running lethality. So in this game in particular, it is to be expected. It's just a little bit of a shock to the system, if I'm honest, because I'm not used to seeing Urgot that squishy.
And I feel like that play presents a much, much larger issue for SQS's comp later down the line. They don't have any tanks. Rue, they literally have no front line. 129, the assassin who we said their job is to flank, is their tankiest member here. You're not really relying solely on your support if you are, you know, realistically trying to team fight. So that just means you're going to have to be a team, a comp that wants to engage but can't engage, because the Slicing Maelstrom is just going to pick you apart. It's such a difficult comp to play if Los Cojones can be first to the objective and sort of dig in the trenches and just wait for you to come at them.
I mean, honestly, even if they're second, they can still play the fights, right? You can send it all in with Slicing Maelstrom and a Grand Starfall over the top. Yeah. You can just see what happens. You're going to have the damage coming through from Jhin. If he's, you know, within 3 screens, he's probably got, you know, enough range to throw in the curtain call as well. It's playable even if you don't get there first, but when you do, it gives you so many more options, of course, as Los Cojones will look to do that for the Rift Herald, that they have been pushed out of the river to start things off, and there will be an instant Glacial Fissure reflected by Cluster Bang. That is indeed a projectile, by the way. It just goes along the floor, as with a lot of projectiles in this game. Can be reflected by Mel and did knock up the Braum in that case. Something to bear in mind for later at the very least.
And I'm maybe walking up a little too far.
Flash away from the exhaust. That is a rooted Jhin stuck in this woodkill. Fear Beyond Death comes from 1,000 meters away, and it will get the kill. Clusterbang as well, trying to run away. Nice reflect, trying to survive. He will do exactly that. And the Slicing Maelstrom goes back the other way. Clasper has fallen. The Mel did fall in the backline, so it's still 2 for 1 so far. As 99 Ping looks to turn it even further. Good Samaritan can just about stay in range. How has he got that stun off? I have no idea. The tether looked to have broken, but he just about kept it in. And Bo3 will fall as well. A 4 for 1 for SQS. They find the God fight.
And somehow, in a 4v5, SQS, yeah, they win out on the exchange. It's Moose and Clusterbang that get immediately destroyed in this fight. And then the 3v5, the rest of the LC members, they try to salvage the situation, but they go down. The target selection is here. It's there. It's everywhere. These guys just have too many threats to deal with. And now the bounties are coming through. The dragon has spawned. SQS with their new shiny toys spent by their new fancy gold coins are going to be stronger in the dragon fight. Just after Rue, we said they were in the weaker position.
Yeah, and that is a great curse from us. +1s in the chat, because we have just done SQS a massive favor. Let's see if they can use that favor that we gave them, as it will be a slight look around this Drake. It will be the runaway. 5 members down here, 5v5. The curtains are called early, and he will get knocked out of it by the Braum ultimate. Razy close though. CJ will go deep. No exhaust to stop him from doing what he wants to. Good Samaritan should look to trade this out. The nice stun on the backline as close as Clasper goes even deeper. Moose is caught in the middle of nowhere. 99 Ping will finally get onto the Urgot, but it is him against the world. He is not enough. The Akali flying all over the place, gets a double kill from themselves. 129, typically a support, but a support no longer. Main character syndrome goes hard when you're 3-0-1.
And honestly, we were looking at CJ, we were so focused on the cannon. He overextends, and as he dies, he looks back, as do we, and we just see all of LC are dead. Los Cojones are down. This Urgot did the damage, and Zoro was there to follow up. The second dragon is gonna go the way of the solo queue Sobriety squad. And now they just disperse all of their members. They apply the pressure on every facet of the map. And Los Cojones, they just cannot keep up.
No, it is ballooning. A 3.5k gold lead has erupted, make that 4k almost, as certain ways of push, it will start to fluctuate, but a massive lead. And it's not just in one position, right? You look across the board for SQS, every single one of the people that you want to have a little bit of gold has at least 3 kills. It's absolutely massive. They're getting kill participation from absolutely everyone as well. 12 kill participation on your mid laner out of 13 is absolutely insane. Good Samaritan is doing so much work right now, and a lot of it is providing the CC that we said was lacking.
Yeah.
He's finding ways to keep the tether attached. I'm not even sure how he's doing it. It feels like voodoo sometimes, because it feels like an average person does not get that tether to go anywhere near that far, but he's able to make sure it reaches, make sure it connects, and gets the CC that they just don't have in their comp otherwise.
If nothing else, he's able to use that ult to peel for his backline, right? Zoro and Clasper, respectively, I think, are the main damage dealers of this squad, and so long as they have the Morgana there to protect them, they're really under no danger, right? You combine the ult with the Black Shield, and it just feels like such a dang difficult world for LC to actually get on to this fight in an aggressive manner. And one thing we really haven't seen from them so far, Rue, is that poke damage. We mentioned it in draft. We saw this comp and we said they had a lot of range, but feels like they really just have not been able to utilize it whatsoever in this game.
You got perfect execution. Number one going to be used for
Goodbye.
To flip over the Pantheon and get out of dodge. Nice movement there from him. Has the R2 if he wants to be stylish before pressing B. Instead, just going to press B the old-fashioned way, and they will steal blue on the top side with the Pantheon staying bot for so long. Nice positive play from SQS. They see the gank fail in the bot side, and they still take the cross map while it's there. And now they can look to turn their attention back to mid as well. A 4v2 in the brewing, but there's maybe a couple of extra members as Clusterbo will actually throw the root straight back at the Morgana.
Wow, that damage.
That'll be in the second one, though, as he will still take the worst end of that trade even after hitting the CC.
Yeah, now, I mean, they have Herald. I don't think it's necessarily in range to die just yet. I think it'll take maybe a couple of autos in Clasper trying to get those in. They really want to try and break open this mid turret. This would be absolutely huge to apply pressure for this Otacon, which has spawned on the bot side. I will say this is one objective that I actually think LC's comp really should like. They have a lot of AoE. I think when SQS are in a condensed area, when they are concentrated on a certain part of the map, all of that AoE should really pay dividends and could potentially give them an angle to look for a fight. But taking that mid turret could mean SQS potentially getting a pick, looking for something aggressive, and maybe just throwing LC off balance beforehand, which is what we want as this red side squad. We do not want to go for these tried and true 5v5s, because for all intents and purposes, and for lack of a better term, that is kind of flipping the game when you're ahead.
Yeah, and they are currently ahead, which is not something we expected at all. But they've managed it. Honestly, there's no analysis to give on this one. It's just they are ahead through some magic, some insane team fighting they've managed to find during the mid lane now. They take things a little bit slower. They know they don't need to risk the game over a random fight. They want to set up properly for this third Drake. Their sole point is spawning in a minute or so. Maybe they're saving the Rift Herald for exactly that, as they will look to get a little bit of deeper vision now, trying to clear out some of these control wards, trying to push that vision line a little bit further than it once was, as my god, that Q just did like a third of the Jin's health. That was like, that's nasty. There's no other word. Yeah. That's nasty.
Indeed, and the Herald is going to be summoned into the mid lane. It's actually going to be driven by Clasper. I don't know if this kills. I think it does. It is going to knock it down. So that will give a lot more space for SQS to actually play with. And it's 30 seconds ahead of the Dragon.
Rush cheese. Clasper, you have to be careful. You might have Demon's Plate, but you're still very squishy, and he will have to flash away from that engagement. Caught out a little bit off guard by CJ. Doesn't quite land the full stun, though, so will still escape.
99 ping, trying to trade back in turrets with the Grubs. He will be able to do so, but Samaritan lands a binding. Both of those members on the top side have teleport, so if a fight should break out in the bot lane, as it almost certainly will, as the neutral objective has spawned, they should just be able to instantly TP toward the action. Clasper, though, doesn't have flash. You've got to be careful as this Urgot. Be very aware of your positioning. Again, this comp lacks the front line, so who is going to be the brave soul that walks up into the face of Los Cojones?
Yeah, well, it feels like they've just been able to walk in for free. Los Cojones had full river control for a brief second there, but it's Pantheon who retreats to go to his Raptors instead of trying to maintain this presence, and now 99 ping has a much tougher time trying to get that poke to land. He finally gets some of it, but it just lands on the front line. The Akali, who already has Zhonya's 50 armor for free with the item as well as the stasis. It would be enough if it just had the stasis, honestly. Having the extra armor is beautiful right now. DJ wants to go deep. He has the slice of motion, gets it onto 2. And they should at least get 1 right. Finally, they will get the Braum. A little bit of MFL reflected as well, as Cloyster will have to flash away from the Fear Beyond Death, though he cannot escape 129, who looks to go even deeper as well. Moose caught on the back line. Beautiful deadly throws, though he catches him off guard as the Morgana still goes forward, gets 2 with a stun. 99 ping will fall as well. The Pantheon will trade 1 back, and it's 2 alive versus 2 alive. An insanely close team fight that SQS just about have the health advantage on, and now Zoro can heal off the Drake as well.
But you can see Bo3, he's still in the area. He's trying to heal off the red buff, but they do this dragon extremely fast. I don't think Bo3 was anticipating that. If he wanted to go for a steal, the time has passed, and it is sole point for SQS. And they come back from that fight. Initially, Clasper getting found by the Deadly Flourish. He gets taken super duper low, but it's good Samaritan and 129, the solo laners, that managed to get into the backline, deal all the AoE damage that they need, and Los Cojones, they run, they scatter, they try to exfiltrate, but they go down.
It feels like if they had a little bit more heal for this Jhin, they'd be in such a good position, but right now it's kind of on him to peel himself right now. I feel like Moose,
which is not a good sign.
CJ is going deep with his ultimates. It makes a lot of sense, right? There's no exhaust to the other side. If you can get a 3k, that's great. That means you get 3 kills. If it comes at the cost of literally everyone else in your team, it's not as great. And unfortunately, he's not even getting 3Ks right now. It's still early game Kennen. He will get there eventually if he's allowed to keep on growing. But by that point, Rexy should at least have some form of exhaust, as Moose will not be caught by the Fury on the death, but will still fall to the Urgot. He has missed a couple times on those House Clasper, but it doesn't matter when you still get the kills.
And Clasper will clasp him. Okay. You know, I bet that's what he says.
CJ, you used your runaway tool and then you went forwards with it, so you can't run away.
Wow. And there is the damage of the Morgana mid. If you don't know about it, don't worry, because neither do we here on the
I know about Morgana jungle damage. It's just the same thing.
Yep, on the imaginary caster booth, we genuinely have no clue that this guy does that amount of damage, as the Otacon, due to those 2 pickup kills by SQS, is going to be netted by the red team. They're also going to take this bot lane turn, so all tier 1s taken on the map for LC. And this just means that, you know, SQS can significantly push up that vision line, just look for those picks like we saw in the mid lane. I feel like Moose just cannot be walking up that far without flash. He needs some kind of peel. We saw it at the dragon fight. We just saw it there. He needs a buddy with him in order to get these backline, you know, these easy backline accessors on the opposing team off of him, or else he just goes down. He doesn't have a ton of gold. He doesn't even have a kill to his name, bro.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not even sure if having people near him is going to be enough right now. It feels like SQS are able to walk wherever they please. It is better than nothing, that's true. And you do have point-and-click CC in the form of a Pantheon, but especially when he's not there, your CC is extremely situational, right? Slicey Maelstrom does a lot of damage, but it still takes a little bit of time to go. That is enough time to burst a champ as squishy as the Jhin. And who else are you going to get to do anything, right? Mel has a route that takes a while to land. They have cleansers all over the place. You need your Pantheon nearby. Otherwise, your Jhin is not getting peeled at all. And right now, it feels like even with the Pantheon nearby, SQS just don't care. They can walk straight on through.
Yeah, they absolutely can. As they are right now, LC are poking and prodding around this part of the map. They're trying to make use and sort of leverage that range advantage that we've brought up a couple of times into this game. Really feels like they were able to do so at that recent dragon fight, but then they dropped the ball. They didn't get the peel, and you know, SQS were able to open the floodgates, so to speak.
Oh my
God, 2 mooses. Wow, that bouncing, not bouncing grenade, that's Jhin. What is the name of bouncing bullet?
Ricochet, something, I don't know.
Ricochet, something like that. That does a lot of damage. That's what we're trying to say.
MFQ hurts. MFQ hurts a ton right now as we look towards another engagement. Buster has stepped up very far around this Baron pit. He will get a little bit of reprieve from the Jin W, but that will be all as the Fear Beyond Death finally collects from Clasper, and he will pick up the Morgana, a 6th kill for this Urgot in the jungle, as he has 1 lethality item, 1 armor item, 1 MR item, everything though moving quickly.
Yeah, some would say he's playing Ultimate Bravery, but there's nothing brave about it. This man is playing with absolute assurance that his team has his back, has the damage to get them away from him. And this Baron going to be taken with no resistance from the side of Los Cojones. Dragon going to be up in about 20 seconds. They will take the empowered Scuttle Crab, so it will allow them to get at least a little bit of vision around the area, but it's not going to reveal any wards. There is literally no vision from either squad on that bot river, which means that you only really get half use from taking that.
That's not a good thing for either side. They really should have some vision, especially when it is soul spawning. But 129 doesn't care about vision around the Drake. He cares about taking a top tier 2 with this Baron. He doesn't even need cannons. He's just there for the XP. He wants to clear that top tier 2, maybe even take a base before heading over towards this soul. An Infernal Soul on the Rift now for SQS. An objective bounty on it if LC can grab it, but it feels like it is so difficult right now, as that is 129 buying an upgraded set of boots, actually, heading into this fight. But calling it a fight is maybe a misnomer, as it is just a fake attempt with a Jin W to try and snipe it away. Nothing really sent properly, as Moose has to be very careful on pathing. You cannot be walking via Raptors right now. Not safe, especially when SQS are in numbers, in rotation around to that mid lane, as they will clear another tier 2.
And they're just pushing down here on this mid with the wave. It is getting thinned out, and LC do have the range to be able to thin it out even more, as Rexy is going to find a Bo3, but will easily be able to escape, as Ultimate is actually coming through. Bo3 is going in.
He's sending it deep on the bot lane. Good Samaritan has to walk up now, and CJ has used his movement already. That is a very dead looking Pantheon stuck in the middle of 5. This fight did not start off well, and it's not going to go any better as well. Bullet Rain will be reflected. Still going to use the full channel just to keep the zoning going for SQS as they look to take the final tier 2. Rexy, though, going to walk forward. Wants to tag people with auto attacks to get that passive going. Doesn't bother with the Q. Just going to walk menacingly forwards, as that is a beautiful Dark Binding connecting. Rooted. Doesn't matter if you're golden, if you can't move anyway. Caught out is Cluster after flashing as well. You'd have thought he used the flash to escape from the Morgana Q, but I guess he just didn't see it. That did an alarming amount of damage as well, by the way. That did like a half his HP, even just on a Q. That's crazy Morgana damage.
And the worst part is, you know, for Los Cojones is that he has 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. He now just gets the fancy hat. So that Dark Binding will be dealing a lot more damage. There is quite literally no magic resist on the side of Los Cojones. All of the armor, all of the defense that they are building is in preparation for the Urgot. But now a new boss has arrived. The Angel of Death, so to speak, is SQS's mid laner, and he is here to deliver a Game 1 victory for his team. It feels so difficult to imagine a world where 10k down, LC can realistically come back in this game.
Especially everything we said earlier on about SQS also to a certain extent applies about LC's draft, right? They have no front line. Their engage is limited. Their CC is situational. They have struggles, especially when this comp gets behind. It's so difficult to try and claw back these fights, because if the other team doesn't want to fight you, they kind of don't have to. Sometimes when you're ahead on Kennen, you can force fights to Slicing Maelstrom. You can come from odd angles, and you'll stun up 3 and you'll get 3 kills. In a game like this, you'd be lucky to stun up 2, and you'd be even luckier if one of them dies right now. Being this far behind cannot feel good, as Dark Binding will go wide. Clusterbang reflects that Glacial Fissure, but he is just doing his best to survive. Half HP on the Mel support, and it unfortunately looks like basically every other Mel support I've ever seen. Useful in lane, and beyond that, every other support feels like it could be doing more.
Yeah, it absolutely does, and with the Baron gone, the sieging is a little bit more difficult for SQS. They aren't able to walk up toward the wave, especially with all the poke that LC have that you illuminated, Rue. But they are going to finally be able to break that dam open.
Good flash away from Fear Beyond Death there. Casper using it to try and bait out at least something. It was Boba who had to dodge that time. Level 16 on the Urgot, level 18 on the Akali and top lanes. They are getting a little bit of pressure on them. Mid lane, though, is where most of the action is. The curtains have been called on top lane, but Good Samaritan just walks forward, decides to face tank the Jhin ult, and they will even get the kill onto the Jace as well. Moose is caught. CJ doing his best to survive, as Boba will also fall. The Slicing Maelstrom will prolong his life, but it is just a mere life extension as the Braum looks to stack up passive. Beyond doing anything else, they might die to the turret. They do.
Whoa!
That is actually a massive kill. Go 2 kills going over to LC, and overstep from SQS as they hand back the gold lead that they just generated, but they're still 10k ahead with an Infernal Soul. Baron spawning in a minute. You overstep a little bit, it's fine. You give over 3 kills, it's fine. You still got mid and bot inhib. You still have that pressure. It would have been nice if you got top inhib as well. It would have been nice if you just ended the game, I'll be honest, but it's still very much so fine.
It is going to be LC that hit him with the no U card and save themselves from a game 1 defeat, but it feels not like a save, but more like a prologue at this point in the game. As like you said, Rue, despite Los Cojones' best efforts, they are still down 10,000 gold. Baron spawning in 20, no vision whatsoever on that topside river for LC, so they'll be walking in a blind, and they'll be walking into a meat grinder.
I'm just watching this Jhin trying to clear super waves, and it's a form of torture, honestly. I think it compares, favorably to things. It's prolonged suffering right now watching this Jhin try to clear waves, because this is not what the champ is built for. He needs the help to push out through mid. Jace able to get rid of the bot lane. They have been able to push out these waves a good little bit. They got them to about the tier 1 marker, but with the supers, they will continue to push back. And you've got yourself a little bit of space, but you can't really do anything with just yet, as Cluster will hit the reflect and lose out heavily on a trade against the Morgana from the mid presence of W. The Siphon is enough.
Yep. I mean, SQS have to be quite careful about actually starting up this Baron, because there is an Elder Drake coming up in about 20 seconds.
I just realized they're trying to play Bush Cheese as Zoro has a Edge of Night going crit MF, but taking the spell shield, trying to bait out towards this Baron, actually giving up the bot side of the map for now. Bot lane itself pushing even deeper. Banshees has been taken off by 129. Nice use of the Jhin W to get that early out of the fight, as it will be the Curtain's Call. Only going to connect 3 shots. The 4th one, no one in the cone. They will escape this time. Both massive objectives now on the map, but one team has to run to their base because there are supers in the base. So it's a free Baron, it's a free Elder.
Yeah, I mean, 99 ping is the only one on the side of LC that has teleport, and it's not up for him. That means that CJ has to back, so it's a 4v5. They lose their biggest team fight commodity inside of the most important fight of the game.
Nice damage coming through there. Clusterbang doing his best to try and get onto Good Samaritan. Hanson is just going to send it, but the Morgana claims the Elder Drake. That will be a very unfortunate series of events. LC doing their best to hang on, but I feel like they might have just sent the wrong person there. If you send the Jace back, he has the wave clear. He can go deal with the wave. You can fight 45. You don't need his poke. He's not going to go full send on this build. He's only 3 items. If the Kennen is there, maybe you can make some heroics happen. Maybe you can steal the Elder and then make the fight happen as well, right? Because stealing the Elder is great, but you're always losing Pantheon on that play. Maybe if the Slicing Maelstrom's there too, if you stole the Elder, there's a chance you just team wipe accidentally, because Elder plus Kennen ult is honestly one of the deadliest combos you can get.
Quite possibly the deadliest combo in the game that you can get, right up there with like Karthus getting the Elder as well. But now the deadliest combo is going to be Soul, Elder, and Baron. The Infinity Gauntlet of Death completed here for SQS as they march into the base of the Los Cojones.
Top inhib claimed, mid inhib about to respawn, bot inhib has already done so. The super wave in mid is going to be not the last one, there's another one coming after that. The bot has reset. They can rotate themselves down to that bot side, or they can just push in the old-fashioned way. One Nexus Terror has already fallen a little bit ago. It is respawning from that bot push as the curtains are called to try and thin this wave out. CJ going very deep though, only going to catch one with the Slicing Maelstrom, and that should be the signal for SQS to go forward now. Half a Nexus turret left between them and the Nexus itself. They they will finally clear it up. Another minute or so, I expect, on that final Nexus turret, as they may have caught on to 129. A little bit too far forward, but finally the bullet time will come, and that is the Pantheon holding on for dear life. The E is beautiful. They will get the Urgot. 129 will go golden as he runs away, though. Moose, trying to send the Deadly Forest through, will only get a small bit of poke, and that will be game one headed over to SQS, building up a 14k gold lead at the end of it.
And a 38.5-minute grind from SQS, a slow burn for the side of the Los Cojones. It will be game number 1 acquired here by the solo queue Sobriety team. And one more win, they will lock themselves playoffs. And for the side of Los Cojones, the backs are against the wall, and it's not even a wall. It is a dark void that you are very close to getting pushed into, and the darkness will be eternal. There is no coming back from that. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. It is just going to be over from there. And really, I feel like it started at the baseline, right? Because honestly, we looked at the comps and we felt like there was just something missing from both of these guys, right? And I feel like despite SQS's win, it showed, right? They were scared to walk up without Baron. They couldn't really siege without that objective. They couldn't really pull the trigger until later. And most importantly, they didn't have the front line necessary. For the other side, Los Cojones, it just felt like they were split all throughout the, every fight, right? You would have CJ going in deep the other way, but then the enemy would dive, so no one would be able to follow up on the cannon. It was just such sporadic team fighting that it was hard to keep track of. And I really feel like if we want to see a cleaner game from both sides in the second time, we need to clean up those 5v5s.
Absolutely. Maybe it's just about drafting more for the 5v5, honestly, because it felt like neither side really wanted to get down and dirty with it. You see a Kennen, you're not expecting a team to not want to team fight, but everything they had around it, you think Jhin fine in a team fight, but if you're playing front to back, it's difficult. You look at Jace, you're looking even more into the poke side of things. You start to wonder, why have we got a Kennen here? Like, if we're drafting backwards here, it doesn't form a cohesive front. If your idea is Pantheon Kennen, go into the backline, get the CC, get the damage, great. Let's do something around that. Let's go Kai'Sa. Let's send it deep. Let's get a Relv, do anything, put them in the circle, do the damage in the circle, and everyone's going to be happy. But unfortunately, it just wasn't what they ended up going with, and they weren't able to make the 5-5s work because they just didn't have the ability to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like both of these teams definitely looking to be a little bit cleaner, a little bit, more, a little bit less messy in the second game. So before that second game starts, though, we are going to take a small little break while we wait for the teams to ready on up. We will have side select, champions, action, and more after this break. See you soon.
Welcome back, everyone, to the ADL qualifiers. Win and you're in, lose and you are gone. SQS going about it the right way. Game number 1 was pretty dominant, honestly. After that early game, it was a little bit closer, and they just pulled away, and they never looked back from there.
They absolutely didn't. They kept on bulldozing ahead in game number 1, sometimes to their detriment. I think that Los Cojones certainly had some bite to their bark, as we are actually going to get the biting and barking character out of the ban phase here in game number 2. Nefiri still going to be locked by SQS. But yeah, I mean, realistically, I think Solo Queue Sobriety didn't have the cleanest game in that game number 1 win. I feel like they certainly just picked apart Los Cojones. So I think in game number 2, if we want LC tickets to game number 3, we need to see more team fight cleanliness. We need to see that target selection really shine through, because I felt like there were so many moments where we were thinking of a target that LC should have gone for. They don't. They split up, and then they get picked apart by the, Urgot. They get picked apart by the Misfortune. The Morgana is able to really do its job, and it is just a disaster from there. So I want to see the 5v5s be more clean from both squads going into game number 2.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of indicative of the type of drafts that we saw there, right? SQS, they have that kind of 1-by-1 pick-off potential, whereas LC, it's kind of an all-or-nothing comp, and unfortunately we got a whole lot more of nothing than we got of all. SQS, target priority, maybe you could shift one side to the other, but when your Urgot gets ignored and he ends up getting a double kill, and then your Kali gets 2 more on the back end, you're not exactly feeling bad about the fights, as we are getting all our bans coming through along the top of your screens. Theory, Aurora, Rumble taken away by SQS, and Ivan, Ziggs, Talia. Is that the exact same as game 1?
Yes, it is.
It's just a different order, just to confuse us. Right.
So SQS on blue side have a choice on what they want to go first. I mean, they first picked their Urgot last time when they were on red. So maybe the idea is we give Clasper a champion that he can really just make mayhem on, and we go from there. But there also are a lot of options open for Zoro. Things like the Jinx are there. Things like the Varus are there as well. Those are 2 pretty consistent blinds that give us a sense of direction, I think, as to how SQS want to play out this match.
Yeah, and they will lock in one of those ADCs, as you point out, the Varus. Consistently fine, never on top of the meta, apart from certain individual months, it feels like. The rest of the time, he's there or thereabouts.
He's like that one crumb that you leave in the air fryer every time you put in the chicken nuggets. It's just like burned to a crisp, but it's still there. You can adjust the temperature, you can change out the filters, you can switch up the meta. Varus is still there. Yeah, Varus will always be there.
Deep clean, he's still going to be there. Ashe as well, slightly less omnipresent, but even when she's not doing great in ADC, sometimes can get picked up in support. Thinking Carrier 2023, as it is an early Galio rotation from LC. You're expecting AP damage to come through at least at some point. Taking the Galio away, it's difficult to play around it unless you really want to stack 3 AD champs, and that doesn't feel great either.
Yeah, and with the Talia taken away, which is, I would say, one of Galio's more difficult AP matchups, I do think that SQS might be in a bit of a bind here as to what they actually want to give the good Samaritan. So they're going to hold off on their mid pick for the time being, just blind up that Trundle. The W shield break does work on Galio passive, so you can chunk him down a little bit. You can carve some weight off of the statue that is Galio, and just give some frontline to your comp with that Dominus. But I really feel like the big answer is, what is your response to this R2 pick by the Los Cojones? I mean, you could do something crazy like the Yone, or something like the Corki. I think that there are a bunch of options. There are some options, and it is going to be the Ahri. So not the worst matchup in the world. Actually, not that bad, if I'm being completely honest, for Ahri. You're able to cancel his taunt with your charm. You're able to usually get out of the way of his ultimate and a lot of his comboing, especially once you get that Spirit Rush and that Foxfire W as well with the movement speed will give you some assistance, but it's not going to help you escape that Camille ult, that's for damn sure.
No, you are going to be caught in the Hextech Ultimatum, and you'll be forced to make a choice. Do you want to go down fighting, or do you want to just go down? Not much else that Ahri can do. Can dash around, but those dashes are really reduced in terms of their potency, in terms of their effectiveness. when you're stuck in a tiny little cage with someone who has scissor legs, as Camille does. So the Galio still finding value as we suspected it would. Ari, though, one of the best AP matchups, as you said, into Galio. You know, beyond that, Talia, it's kind of, you know, Ari Talia or bust when you're looking at Galio. There's not much else that you can really, you know, play into him while still itemizing AP as we turn our attention to the second phase of draft. Gwen banned away. I guess that's a Gwen jungle ban from SQS as Los Cojones turn their eyes to Alistair.
Yeah, so we're seeing some support takeaways here by LC, just really trying to make sure that the engage can't be reinforced from the support pick here by SQS, but there probably still will be a decent amount of options available, even if both of those bans go toward the support. My biggest worry, though, with this Camille is honestly how it's going to function in the late game. I think Renekton overall usually wins those duels, and especially once that Hextech Ultimatum plus Hero's Entrance combo comes down, Renekton can really break you up, you know, with that dual ultimate. With that dual ultimate usage, just because he is such a menace whenever he uses that dominance that you have to focus him, right? It doesn't matter which target you ulted, the big bad Croc is there to tear apart your backline, so you will immediately have to switch over targets and say, all right, now we got to kill the top laner instead of the person we committed to our keys towards. So it is going to be LC blinding the Trundle here, very prevalent pick currently in the meta, but acts more so as a counter. I think maybe they're anticipating like a Mundo jungle here by SQS, which could certainly be the case, as we do know that LL Clasper does like his Mundo, but he'll be able to at least take away one tank, which is going to be that Leona.
I was about to say it before it popped on the screen. It's a lovely Viego angle for him, though.
It is.
When Mundo's taken away by you see the Trundle, you're like, okay, maybe let's not do that. That sounds like hell. Let's go something that can fight back. And let's fight back in style as LC will lock in the Bard R5, countering that Leona with a little bit of flair coming through, rounding out this draft in a very unique way. Ashe Bard as a lane does not strike me as all too scary, especially into the combo that is just throw down the sun, throw out some arrows, and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there is a decent amount of remote ultimates here by Los Cojones, and I think that that's what they're really going to have to be relying on here. You have the Tempered Fate, you have, you know, the Hero's Entrance, you have the global ult of the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, so these are the tools that I really want to see this squad make to deny things from SQS, such as the resets, right? We talk, obviously, about the Viego with those Heartbreaker resets and just, you know, absolutely running away with team fights, but there's also the Spirit Rush, right? The Ari is going to benefit from resets as well. So I think the goal for Los Cojones here should be able to just shut down the fights before they even begin. Don't even give SQS the opportunity to fight for a long period of time. Deny those resets, take out a target, pick someone on sides, and get a numbers advantage before any of those objectives spawn.
Let's see if they can do exactly that as we head onto the Rift for game number 2. SQS on the blue side, LC on the red as we head onto the Rift.
Yeah, and immediately here, looking at the level 1, looking at the summoners, looking at the keystones, nothing too out of the ordinary. Cluster Bang actually going for the unsealed spellbook. I noticed in game number 1, we saw the Braum take that, but I don't really think we saw the full power of that keystone. I really want to see Cluster Bang go for like TP angles with the unsealed spellbook.
I want to see how many polybuff videos this guy's been watching. That's what I want to see. Unfortunately, he is not an avid polypath watcher, because anyone who respects themselves at Bard Spellbook knows that it's Ignite instead of Heal. That's the first tripping stone. Unfortunately, Cluster Bang has fallen over. Let's see if he can recover from there, though, as I'm very excited to see how this Bard does perform, especially as you look beyond that first 5 minutes, right? Beyond that first 6 minutes when you can finally start using a rune page, because everyone else has already had access to their runes for the previous 6 minutes, and you finally get to do something.
Yeah. I think once that hits, I want to see Cluster Bang try to roam top, right? This is a very volatile matchup between the Camille and the Renekton. You can take that teleport. You can also deny the dive that could be looked at by SQS if they attempt a cross-map play. I think that is a really underrated usage of the spellbook, but we'll have to wait and see if this Bard makes use of it. For the time being, though, we turn our attention to the junglers, and they are starting on opposite sides, so not going to see a ton of interaction between the two parties like we did on that crab in game 1.
I think that's all things considered a good thing for Boba, as when he doesn't get his teammates' help on that crab, it's a little bit tilting, I'll be honest. As a jungler, you feel it when you have...
Oh yeah, you do.
And they don't come. When you go by yourself and you just kind of int it on the first crab, you're like, okay, fair enough, that's on me. But you know, that on there on top side, he had all the help he could ever want. His opposite jungler used smite on both his buffs, and he still is able to contest for that top crab because his laners just came when yours didn't. Hopefully this time, by going for that opposite pathing, they are able to avoid that issue.
You can see 129 on the receiving end of a lot of bad trades, as well as poke from 99 ping, and Glasper pathing opposite of his top laner, which means this Renekton is kind of going to have to defend for himself for a decent chunk of time. Bo3 actually skipped the Raptor, so there's a possibility that Trundle just forsakes his other topside camps, and with the chunked out Renekton, maybe looks for a dive. That is always a possibility. Just looks to have some impact on the lane ahead of this Viego, who is continuing his full clear escapades.
Crossing. Like. He's found out that blue buff has already been taken. The top side is no longer, and he will trudge home, sadly, back towards his Raptors. Maybe having a small look in at mid on the way, though, as Good Samaritan has to be very careful of that pillar. Gonna get caught by the taunt at the very least, but nice charm to buffer it out as we turn our attention back down to bot lane. Zoro standing still while autoing because he thinks that he's that confident onto Clusterbang, and they will be able to get first blood. The flash stun from Rexy gets an extra auto and will claim the kill with Ignite onto the bug. Clusterbang, you're playing down a rune page, and you unfortunately cannot be that far up with just a heal.
Doesn't even get the opportunity to flash away either. Goes down before he can pop that summoner spell. So it is going to be first blood given over to SQS, but not without return fire from Los Cojones.
Nice flash, but now he's caught on the wrong side of a pillar. Will somehow find the smallest angle to sneak around, and Balbao has to be extremely careful himself as well. So caught up there as he did get a couple of turret shots thrown his way. Is able to escape. No flash used, while the Renekton did have to pop his own. So at least getting that flash on the top side gank, but no extra money towards the Trundle.
It is a little bit of a bad start for Bo3 as well on this Trundle. He didn't take his he didn't take his other topside camps besides the red buff, and then looked for a gank that failed on the top side as well. So he is significantly behind in tempo compared to this Viego, who not only got the full clear plus the crab, but also got a reset, has that Sheen available, which Trundle hasn't gotten the opportunity to look for that first back. Just gives the timing advantage over to SQS.
Clusterbang finding himself in a position not necessarily expected by Good Samaritan. Won't throw out that Cosmic Binding, though. Will just chill, get a little bit of damage. Proxy the Imagining Electrocute, and then walks away back down to his bot side. Will be met in the river by an angry Leona. No summoners left on Rexy unless you're counting Hex Slash. And I'm not sure Clusterbang does. He still gets connected onto by the Zenith Blade, and he will look to trade out beyond there. Moose is here. Rexy has no flash. He has walked out very far in the river. This started off as Sportal Combat, as it will turn into a 4v1. Leona caught in the river will trade back that earlier kill, and this time the kill target is much more important, right? Galio picking up some early money gives him that resistance in the lane, where sometimes he struggles, especially against an Ahri Snowball. This time, there is no Ahri Snowball, and you can build the resistances even earlier.
Yeah, I'll be able to shove out that wave, and has teleport, so we'll come back with a decent amount of gold, enough to, like you said, Rue, match that Ahri. It really feels like that was a pointless Zenith play, though, from Rexy. I really am trying to figure out what the idea behind that engage was. You didn't have anyone nearby, and it just felt like a careless play from the support of SQS, but it's going to give over a cloak to the mid laner, to the Galio, which is going to be a lot more difficult for your Ahri to actually poke away with, especially now that Hero's Entrance is accessible to the Galio.
And the kill basically gave him the boots in his inventory for free. He had the cloak just about on that back. But Rexy will look to go aggressive once more. Not going to be deterred by failing once. We'll go for the Hex Flash play, and he's actually going to call the flash of Zoro forward as well. One piercing arrow will get the kill. Moose has to run away to the turret. Caught by the charm. Beautiful charm by Good Samaritan. Flashing way too late. Cleansing as well is Moose. Did not respect the angle of the charm. I thought it hit a minion, but apparently Good Samaritan knew more than anyone else as he spirit rushes down to bot lane, gets the kill, and used the ultimate to get back to mid. Beautiful play from him.
There's Clusterbang TPing back to the bot lane as 129 is quite low, but has that Dominus available and is just kind of using that as a big red break if, caution, break if in danger button. Kind of like the Pool Party Ari skin for Riot, and they've hit that button, Rue.
They've hit the button as 129 wants to turn on top side. He has his jungler in the vicinity. Class below only level 5 for now. Not quite at the Heartbreaker spike. Will not be able to go very deep at all. 99 ping will survive, and it is Dominus popped for no Hextech Ultimatum. This heavily favors the Camille, especially since 129 still has no flash.
Yeah, 129 though, going to be able to get a reset. We'll pick up the tabbies. It's going to be a lot harder for 99 ping to bully out this Renekton from here on out. Grub's coming up in about 20 seconds. Neither jungler having hit that level 6, but like you said earlier, Rue, Dominus down for 129 leads me to believe there is a chance that Los Cojones maybe look for this topside objective. Reset is coming in from Trundle, as he does now have that subjugate available, but will be decently late to the play and, to the spawn of that neutral topside objective.
Nice trading by the Galio in mid lane. Hardly takes a lick of damage while chunking out the Ahri pretty well. Passive will heal him up a good chunk though, as Good Samaritan is close enough to getting that ulti back as well. A couple of seconds and finally he has it. Charm onto CJ, who will taunt up Clasper, but taunting up a Viego, he wants to ulti you anyway. It slows him down a little bit though, and the Spectrum Ward will get him beyond the pillar away to safety.
And you can also see Clusterbang roaming up toward mid lane, giving numbers advantage over to Los Cojones. Don't really think there is an angle for SQS to take the grubs. Clasper tried to get one, wasn't able to do it. Now he just returns to his bot side. Dive not really available on the other end either, because you can also see that Clusterbang
kept up so far. Look where the Ash is got to.
He kept smartly out of fog as well, the Bard, so there really is no counterpunch for SQS in response to these grubs. It's just a lot of damage from Zoro. I just realized that he's basically a level up over his counterpart.
Yeah. that is a full level lead. Comet into lethal tempo is enough already to be pretty dominant. Playing a 2v1 lane and having a Dirk into a Teemo slingshot, it suddenly feels a whole lot more deadly for the Varus in this matchup, as well as of course the Ashe having no cleanse from that previous play where they died to the beautiful roam from Good Samaritan. You can pop the Chains of Corruption whenever you want right now, and the Ashe has absolutely nothing you can say about it, right? Rixie just needs to press the go button. The Solar Flare is what should start that play off, and beyond that there is absolutely nothing Clusterbang can do apart from tank it himself and die in place of the Ashe.
Yeah. But luckily the bot lane, despite being significantly down in gold for the side of Los Cojones, has managed to stay relatively safe. Other than that early exchange in the bot lane, there hasn't been a ton of free gold given over by this Ashe and Bard to continue snowballing this Varus. And this has allowed a little bit of gold to accumulate into the coffers of the top side of Los Cojones. We're going to have to see if that pays dividends later down the line. It could pay dividends in about 30 seconds, though, as the Dragon will be up. It is one for Los Cojones. I think if they get the other one, that will be the full 3 objectives. So they'll unlock that feat. But the 3 kills went over to SQS, which means it's going to be a battle of who gets that turret.
If that does happen, of course, SQS can have their say over the Drake spawning in 5 seconds. We'll find out what type of a Drake it is when it spawns, because unfortunately, when it's one of the techs, you can't see it in the top left. It is a chem tech by the look of it on the mini-map, as it is there waiting for some team to take it. It's a very early second Drake, 11 minutes. Or it takes 5 minutes for it to spawn after that first one's taken. First Drake taken extremely quickly this game as Clasper clears out some vision and heads over towards a very key objective. Top lane looking to reset. 129 has TP. He wants to be in here.
Temper Fate.
Going to connect on bot lane. That's a chance to kill Flower as well. It's undodgeable. Beautiful cleanse will finally come through for Zoro, but he will still be chased down. The Subjugate will do exactly that. A shutdown over to the Trundle and then look to turn the play. Which I choked on nothing. Rexy will throw the solar flare and unfortunately just hits 3 outer rings. No one in the center. Still gets the cleanse from Moose, but they will now have the numbers advantage on the bot side.
They will, but they use 3 ultimates crucially. That Zenith Blade though, or that solar flare, like you said, used by Rexy. Their ping's coming down on the bot side, but no action to be had, so it's just going to be another dragon picked up by Los Cojones. And I do have to say, beautiful timing from Moose on that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. There's so many instances where that would completely go wide or you would mistime it. It would go through the Tempered Fate and you would look silly. But just as he goes out of golden, he immediately gets stunned up.
Oh, and we're going again. Cluster Bang has been caught by a Zenith Blade. Beautiful Cosmic Binding to connect onto 2. Will get the stun instead of just the slow and will escape with a good chunk of his HP still intact. Has a lot of W's as well to place down. Not so much mana, but will be able to give himself a little bit of sustain. He also has the ward in that bush. No backing for you in there, Leona. Back to mid lane where you turn our attention though. CJ would have been in trouble if that Charmer connected. Still gets caught on by the Spectral Maw, but the Viego doesn't have enough damage by himself, and Good Samaritan just trying to clear the wave. This is a Viego looking for damage and nothing else. Gonna get taunted, gonna go forward again. CJ overstaying a little bit, but still will just walk away eventually. On the top side though, the Trundle looking around the back. Look at where Baobab has able to got to. He's right behind them on this play. I think CJ's calling for him to go for it as he flashed away from the Spectral Maw. His Trundle should be in the area. His Trundle's right there on the minimap, but he's still playing 2v1. Finally, he turns up. And here comes the Bard as well. Should get the Cosmic Binding. Beautiful play from him. Will get the Pillar as well to get the slow. Nice charm for Good Samaritan to try and run away. His bot side has been left alone. Flash forward from Zoro. Will get the kill with that one as Tempered Fate finally used on the bot side. The Ari will fall a 1-for-1 across the map, which couldn't have been any more chaotic if it tried.
Absolutely. I have no idea how the Good Samaritan got to that blast cone in time, but almost gets away. Luckily, the portal will make the difference. Bard going to pick up that kill. Not the most ideal target for LC, but, you know, a kill's a kill, and it will allow a reset to come through from CJ. And we saw how difficult it is to kill this Galio. From here on out, this man is practically immortal. And you have to think, what is going to be the answer here from SQS? Who is going to be the big threat on to this beefy Galio? Because you've got your Varus. You've got your Varus going lethality. 129 is gated and jailed up in the top side. The Good Samaritan is not going to kill him. And I mean, LL Casper doesn't even have his first item yet. So there are really no responses to how tanky this guy is just yet. I feel like your best bet is to try and free up 129. You've got a Herald spawning in less than a minute. You could try to fight for that, get that break top turret, and roam around this Renekton to really be a threat for CJ the Awesome.
Tons of options, but none of them sound great, I'll be honest. Galio is such a powerful pick because of exactly this, right? He just poses questions of what you want to do while attacking, as it will be another solar flare connecting. Good Samaritan is down here. Exhaust be damned. Nice spellbook. It doesn't do anything when we have so many people in the area, and that is the combo I talked about in draft. You throw the sun, you throw the arrows, and the chains connect. You cannot dodge it when you have no cleanse available. And Moose has been caught without cleanse a couple of times. Plus that will use a magical journey to escape himself, the Bard. So survivable for exactly that reason. If you end up daring to walk through, it is always punished with an even further escape. So it will just be the run back to top side for the Bard as 129 feels forced to go forward on the Dominus. Miller invested, but nothing else, as Clasper may have found the Bard. No, that connected to a wall? That was a wall?
That was
Viego, I'm asking for a Chrono Break.
Yeah, that was certainly a Viego stun of all time, as Ooh,
not quite the Ari. Nice sidestep from Good Samaritan. I thought it was going to go deeper than Moose initially wanted. Will not land on anyone on the front line though. Nice Cosmic Binding again. Clusterman seems to be hitting a lot of these as the Trundle will tank first. Caught up though by the Viego. Walking too far, and that is indeed a reset for the Viego. Another Cosmic Binding connects though. It will slow him down. Tempered Fate will do exactly that. Delay. Moose though will not be able to escape. No mobility at all on the Ashe, and it should be Rift Herald.
And it's a disrespectful walk up there by Bo3. The Trundle gets taken down. The charm connects and the resets come through. This is the comp that we wanted to see from SQS, and this jungle Viego pick is delivering.
Absolutely is. Already out the Triforce, both junglers reaching that mark about the same time. Actually, Trundle might have been ahead before that kill, before that double kill happened, because he has his boots already in inventory as well as a Ruby Crystal going towards, I guess, a Black Cleaver would be typical Trundle. But right now, Viego can start to itemize towards the crit as he loves to do. Go aggressive, go for the reset. As soon as you get one, you get tanky based on who you kill anyway. It doesn't really matter if you have tankiness yourself. Sunder Sky is always fun, but it doesn't really matter in a game like this, in a champion like this, honestly. With Viego in his current phase, it feels like get a kill through any means necessary, and then beyond that, good luck to the rest of your team. Good luck to everyone else on the Rift.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a bit of a difficult game now, I think, for LC, because Dragon has spawned. Herald can be used, I think, to pull attention away from the Los Cojones. As Rexy is looking, misses the Solar Flare, but hits the Zenith Blade.
Another Magical Journey will get that bard to safety. Had to use heal though, as 129 looks aggressive on the top side. He has dominance if he wants to. That is a disgusting amount of damage on the Camille. Both top laners have their ultimate as Rexy hits another one, a Zenith Blade, but the Blast Cone knocks all three away. Beautifully positioned around it when no one was going to go anywhere they didn't want to, as they will start to back away. Look for the pushing waves once again, as it took a little bit too much time. And they will send Tempest Fate, actually completely whiffs Rexy just about getting out in time. Clusterman now without a key ultimate for this Drake fight.
Yup. Also doesn't have that heal available, hasn't swapped the summoner spells, so that is something to consider. Herald still in the pocket of Clasper, can use this in the mid lane, will likely break down the turret. 99 ping actually used his TP to get back to the top lane, which means he won't be able to participate in this fight.
Trundle. That's a pillar. Clasper chose to go for the drive. He doesn't realize just how dangerous driving can be, as Flash Taunt from CJ is beautiful to pick up the first. And here comes 99 ping flying onto the backline. The Galio combo is exactly what was professed to be, but maybe not, as the Camille actually falls early. Trundle has got a double kill, but CJ will fall, and it is the retreat coming in from LC. Flash forward from the Ari, from everyone going forward. Zora has already gone down, Clasper has already gone down, but they have the damage throughout their solo lanes instead of their jungle and their AD, and it's enough for SQS to push them away and start to look to take this Drake.
And they commit the subjugate, they commit the time, they commit the effort to taking down LL Clasper. 129 rears his crocodile head, and he does the spin move in the water, and he takes them out 6 feet under. It is a one fight for SQS. The Dragon, though, still on the board. And we've got 30 seconds until that Otacon spawning at the same side of the map. This is a fight both teams really want to win, but curiously one that neither top laner is actually going to participate in. They don't have teleport, so it might just be a 4v4 here, Rue.
It could be indeed. We saw previously both top laners, at least 99 ping, rather, walking down after using TP to get to top, got the wave pushed, and then hid in the fog. Doesn't know where you're going to go, right? Are you going to go down to mid lane? Are you going to look for the fight? Or are you going to walk back up to top, as this time he has chosen to? Both top laners, of course, level 13 as well. That second maxed out letter in their arsenal, as 99 ping is taking a pretty rough trade. The shield break from Renekton is disgusting, but so too is that proc of the grasp, as well as that Q2 on the Camille. That was a massive amount of HP off the Renekton. Either way, it will not be a contest from LC. They already have 2 Drakes. They say that's enough for now. We have no mid turret, they have mid push. We need to be very careful. I said we need to be very careful, as that is a very far forward Trundle caught out 1v4, checking the river after the Drake has gone. You cannot be there.
And now Moose or rather Clasper, I should say, is on the hunt. He wants the Ash, but some sneaky movement from the ADC. No, he's getting found.
Zoro, beautiful time timing instantly. As soon as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow connected, he was out of there. As Moose has unfortunately been caught by Spectral Maw. Rexy wants more though. He wants even more resets for his jungler, who's now rocking the Ash, has the slows, goes Heartbreaker, goes deep. The taunt will only connect onto the Leona. It's not enough damage on a Galio at this phase of the game. Good Samaritan now wants to go deeper. They're not going to take that magical journey though, as it is a Bard who has Ghost now as well. Topside still doing well for LC, but it is the bright spot amongst a whole river of darkness.
Absolute beautiful sequence there from SQS. They win out on the extended team fight. They catch Bo3, you know, going just too far, too close to that dragon, and the resets come through. Clasper managing to run around in that fight. Now 4-1-2. Getting closer and closer to that second item. It looks like it is going to be a collector for the Viego. The Otacon is still around, and you can see LC bot, or I should say support jungle duo, just trying to dig in some deep vision ahead of this objective, making sure they know where SQS is at all times. But Rexy knows where Moose is. It's just
that is a fake engage if ever I saw. And Rexy made as well. The Cosmic Mining doesn't connect on a wall this time. Clusterbang though will let his thoughts be known. As 99 ping, it's found by Clasper. I don't know if he wanted to be there. Gonna get caught in the blast cone. Will get popped immediately. No resets this fight. As Good Samaritan also has to Spirit Rush away from the taunt of CJ, and that will just be a Viego going down. Atakan as well to follow. LC, they catch off the enemy jungler, walking somewhere he shouldn't be. Hextech Ultimatum locks him in place through the blast cone, and they get a free pick, and that's a free Atakan.
Yeah, that was just way too disrespectful from LL Clasper. He had no one around. He was on the wrong side of the fight. He goes to try and chunk out 99 ping. But, I mean, even if you didn't get hit by the hook shot, you would have gotten hit with the Galio Camille combo. And I feel like that should be enough for you to not go in. You need to wait for 129. You need to wait for Rexy. He gets impatient and he gets put down. Now the Otacon is gone. The bot turret is gone. And SQS, they're going to try and trade some stuff back. They will take the mid turret, but it feels like a consolation prize for a team that should be steamrolling this game.
But sometimes those consolation prizes are still pretty decent, right? Maybe they should be steamrolling. That is certainly something you could say after their start. But a mid-tier 2 is a very solid consolation prize, and you may be even getting a little bit more as Rexy looks to cut off CJ from his advanced Justice Punch and the taunt just to try and escape. Phase Rush has been procced as the Bard comes down from the sky. Bard has been caught. Clusterbang obliterated by the solar flare as Good Samaritan looks to go forward. Ooh. Nice dodge of the charm though from 99 ping as he'll win out in the 1v1. You cannot be looking to play that way into a Camille with flash. The flash arm does absolutely nothing when she goes unstoppable and takes you into the Hextech Ultimatum.
And that is just a beautiful sequence by the top laner of Los Cojones, trying to persist in the side lane. Everyone from SQS resetting, trying to deal with this Camille, but they keep getting pushed back. The rest of Los Cojones are just delaying them as much as possible, and it will net them 2 towers on the bot side of the map, a minute ahead of this dragon that Los Cojones really want, not only because it's Soul Point, but because it's, you know, a Cloud Soul. I know a lot of people meme on Cloud Soul, but look at how much movement speed just passively is on this LC team. You've got Trundle W, you've got Bard Chimes, you've got Galio with Phase Rush, as well as his W that gives him a little bit of movement speed, and Camille Q that gives them a little bit of movement speed. So there are a lot of movement abilities.
Presses R. That's absolutely amazing. That's exactly what you really see. It's 3 summoners. As soon as you press R, you get the sun and you get to run faster. What else could you possibly want? That is a Cloud Drake spawning in 10 seconds time. LC will get up to Soul Point if they can claim it. Otherwise, SQS will put themselves on 2 as a beautiful charm will start this fight off. but nothing else will go onto 99 ping, who is still able to retain a massive high HP pool. Another charm will connect, and this time it may go a little bit further as the Hextech Ultimatum will do nothing. He is obliterated by the Varus. 0 armor on this Camille, and he is taken down, but it will be the Renekton trade out on the other side. Moose has to flash away, and that is a dead Bard. Another reset for the Viego as he looks to go deeper. LL Clasper, though, no one there for him to find. We'll see Moose, and we'll see that he has already gotten out, and they can turn attention back to this Drake.
Definition of a good death there for 129. He tanks it for his team. He throws down the Dominus. He makes himself the big red target and says, Los Cojones, come get me. And he goes down, but not without 2 being, you know, avenged for him on the other side, as well as that dragon taken by SQS. So they will deny the Drake stacking even further. And now we might have a bit of a chase on our hands.
Yeah, they're looking towards the top side. The top tier 1 does still exist, though, so it is a bit of a fake chase. But maybe the chase wasn't the plan. Maybe it was just to get some positioning around the Baron as Clasper does a little bit of a fake startup and then decides better of it, ending up going towards the top side instead, clearing out that wave, as you can do, right? On a Viego, there are some junglers that are happy to just take waves, and the rest of the team is also happy for it to happen. A high economy Viego is a very happy Viego, and a happy Viego is a happy team because he has tons of resets, he has tons of kills, and he has tons of items to get those kills. Is exactly what you want.
The only thing that might make Viego sad, well, okay, there's 2 things. One, his wife is gone, right?
Okay,
he loves to say.
You didn't need to go there. You did not need to go there.
And, well, you know. And 2, he has no flash. So that safety net for Clasper, not readily available, which means that if LC pick their targets right and they're able to lock up this Viego, who, keep in mind, doesn't really have much defense. He really just has that ninja tabby. Will be an easy target. As you can see, he actually takes a decent amount of damage from that poke.
Solar Flare goes wide as 129 looks to go mid instead. Moose has a cleanse, but chooses not to use it just yet. We'll get the heal from the bar to try and run it past. A beautiful cosmic binding again, though, from Cluster. Uses the Sunman to help us ADC, and then is there with the Q to land the CC. Exactly what you want for a support, as that's just a casual sidestep from 99 ping. He maybe needs to be a little bit less casual, though, as that is a 1v4 that he has found himself in. Rexy, the only one that wasn't there, the only one not in the kill feed for that kill, as he is walking up, getting a little bit more space for his team, getting some vision down as well around this big purple worm, as he looks to take top tier 1 at the very least off of getting that top laner dead.
Rexy.
Oh, good flash.
Clasper.
That's awkward. I flashed away. You don't have flash. You don't even have ultimate. You are gone. Rexy saves themselves and ends up killing the Viego in the play. Sure, SQS got top tier 1, but they're losing so much more than they ever could have gained from that play. They invest so heavily into the top side after claiming the Camille. They send 3 top to claim a turret that was already dead, and now they're staring down the Baron and potentially losing the Baron themselves because their Viego is dead for 25 seconds. They have no smite.
And this is the second time this has happened. Clasper gets found ahead of a crucial objective. First it was Otacon, now it's Baron, but this is one that SQS cannot afford to give up. The Telpars are getting chucked down.
Renekton in the backline culls the Meek, and that is a very meek looking Ashe. They will trade one back. The Ari has gone. Rexy is so low, but the Renekton is massive. Varus as well. Zoro putting in a ton of work, and it is just Cluster left alive. The cleanse is a little bit late from Zoro if he wanted to make this play happen. The piercing arrow, though, is still disgusting. A 3.5 item Varus will tend to do that. Nice stun against the wall again as Clusterbang looks to run away with his chimes by his side. He will survive, but that is a very ambitious Baron play. Even though you have the kill on the jungler, you don't have your top laner there. 99 ping TP's in and does absolutely nothing in the fight, and 129 does absolutely everything.
Zoro is so low. He's got to be really careful not to get executed by this Baron. Clusterbang might try to make the difference, though. He sees him. He's on a ward.
He's a spellbook.
Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god,
incredibly low, dodges away from the Ashe arrow. Will die to the Baron! You know that it hurts! Why are we doing this? As it executes the Baron, his tempered fate goes on the Baron. It is golden, stuck at 5k. They can look to burst this down. There is no smite on the Spellbook Bard. You can press tab, you can see that there is no smite. They will claim it. No, they want the Baron! Why are we smiting pre-1200? He doesn't doesn't have smite. You're going to lose the fight as well. That is 129 falling. That is Clasper falling and is punished for his early smite. Zoro fell to start that play to the Baron of all things. And it is a 44 seconds away from a Cloud Drake to try and carve out whatever we just saw. Baron over to LC.
And not just one or two members of the responding LC, they were all up, Rue. It is a 5-man Baron. Clasper gets out-smited by a bard.
Auto attack.
Oh my gosh.
Bard auto.
He dies before Otacon, he dies before Baron,
oh
and he
God.
fails the smite steal. I am putting Clasper in the air fryer.
Yeah, unfortunately, 99 Ping has also found himself out of the frying pan into the fire as he has been 1v3'd on the top side. His team has claimed the Drake. Actually, it's only just spawned. They haven't claimed it just yet. They will get it off spawn, though. They will get themselves to Soul Point. And we pointed out earlier how important that Cloud Soul is for at least this team. It's also good for SQS if they're able to get there. They are still a little bit further away, though. The resets are amazing for both of their mid and jungle, but they are still, of course, those two Drakes away. 99 Ping, a little bit overstay on the top side. Probably didn't need to stick around after that top tier 2 had gone.
Yeah, and now the game is just completely flipped on its head. 31.5 minutes, and it's basically dead even. Soul Point for LC. They still have that Baron on a decent amount of members, but I don't really think any wave is in a position to threaten the base turrets, as all of the tier 2s have been taken by Los Cojones. So it is probably just going to be worn off for now, and we'll refresh ahead of the next objective, which won't be up for another 4 minutes. Based on how this game is going, honestly, Rue,
they'll find a fight.
Something's going to happen in 4 minutes that makes us freak out again like we did at Baron.
I'm sure they'll do something before 4 minutes is up. These guys don't understand the word chill. They don't understand the words don't fight. Like, it's just constant mayhem occurring.
They don't understand the words don't get caught out when you're not supposed to. Good Lord.
Yeah, that's true. 30 seconds left on the Baron. They could look to siege if they wanted to, but the wave clear from a Lethality Varus is ginormous. Even through the Baron, still chunking out those minions pretty well. We'll get most of them gone. The wave is thin. Just a cannon minion rather left alive in this wave, as they can try to push it in towards the turret, but it will not survive. 15 seconds left, and it should be just the tier 2's gone. Now, no more standing money on the board for LC. They have to push deeper if they want to get some extra gold, at least on the towers. Otherwise, it's down to CS and kills, and right now, SQS have kind of been dominating, at least on kills, and honestly on CS too.
Yeah, I feel like LC, with that Miracle Baron, have just gotten a second win to come back in this game. Haven't really been able to test out their damage just yet, but Ashe very close to 3 items. 99 ping, despite being 1 in 5, you know, don't let appearances fool you. This Camille still does a lot of damage if the backline gets accessed by that Hextech Ultimatum. And ultimately, I feel like it is the Hero's Entrance Hextech Ultimatum that is going to prove potentially to SQS's downfall if they lose this game. It feels so difficult for the good Samaritan to play at this point because you are basically fully indexing into offense. You have no defensive items. You don't have Azanias. You don't have, you know, anything that makes you tankier. You are looking for damage. You are looking forward to being a glass cannon. And LC, they have the tools to shatter you with that ult combo.
Yeah, and there are a lot of glass cannons as well on SQS. You look across the board. Jungle, you expect to be a tankier role, but not this jungler, not Clasper. Happy to go lethality first on the Urgot in the previous game. Was going a bit more move speed overall, but still starting off on Yomu. This time round, the crit Viego, it's common. It's accepted as a good build, but it's still risky. It's high risk, high reward, and especially when you're surrounded by lethality on Varus, and you point out the full AP on Ahri as well. Sure, you have 7 stacks of Darkseid, that's amazing, but what will you do when you just get double ulted on top of, you're stuck in a circle, you're gonna get knocked up, you're probably just gonna die, you're gonna lose those stacks if you don't have a way of staying alive.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like, you know, we said something was gonna happen ahead of this dragon. Nothing has happened. It has just been SQS clearing out waves, and Honestly, I feel like if you are SQS, you want something to happen, right? Because as it stands, you have no vision, no information, no control over what goes on toward that bottom side of the map. It's just completely dark for you ahead of this Cloud Soul. So you're going to be walking in blind, which is
like, it's a really opposition, right? They feel like they don't have the ability to walk out of their base right now. They certainly do. LC can't contest anywhere near as much space as SQS should be able to take. But it feels like they're a little bit intrepid, a little bit scared to walk out of their base because they don't know what's going to happen. As 99 ping,
there we go. Here's the combo.
Galio on the top, but they have at least found the Ari. The Seeker's arm guard is so late. They will just fall to the Trundle. The fight, though, is still big. Zoro has landed the change of corruption. He just needs one more piercing arrow. He doesn't get the reset. On his guns. They are all so low to the Varus, but they will not fall. And instead, it is a clean 1 for 5 for LC as they look to end the game.
They don't have the wave, but they certainly can push it. It is 99 ping, teleporting to the bot side. Moose is holding that position in mid for now. They are looking to end it. They are looking to take us to a game number 3 out of the most unlikely plays from the most unlikely sources in the most unlikely time possible. We got 20 seconds. I think it's enough. I think LC are going to take us to series point for game 3.
Will do exactly that. The Nexus turrets fall. The Nexus soon to follow. And in a massive recovery, it is LC out of absolutely nowhere. And basically all thanks to their support Bard running Spellbook. Polypuff would be proud, but he didn't even do it with the smite. He just did it with an auto attack. That's a wit's end diff right there.
You can't even say that was like a carry MSI play. You just have to say that was... You just have to say that was a Rexy play at the end of the day, and or a cluster bang play at the end of the day. And man, that play just turns the game on its head, and I don't even feel good about that game, man. I like, seriously, like solo queue Sobriety were down for so long, but they just, or Los Cojones were down for so long, but they just come back. Randomly, like Clasper gets picked at Otacon, he gets picked at Baron, he fails the smite fight as a jungler. I am mauling at my grave. Like I am mauling over here. I don't even have words.
Let's see if the rest of his team is molding though, as we will send to a short little break, ready for game number 3, the important one to decide to see who goes through to playoffs and who is eliminated after this. Welcome back, everyone. The series that no one expected to deliver has definitely delivered. 1-1 headed into the third and final of today. SQS, dominant game one, but unfortunately didn't get it over the line. Didn't get it close to being over the line, if we're being honest, in game number two. And I'm sure that Quacks has some very fun thoughts on that subject before we head into draft.
I'm just saying, man. If you lose a game off of a Bard stealing Baron, it's bad. If you lose a series off of a Bard stealing Baron, and that series is do or die,
I can see it being worse.
Yeah. I won't say on broadcast. You know, we got to keep it PG here on Aegis.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's game number 3. You can see those 20, I should say, champions below our profiles here are the ones taken off the board, no longer available for game number 3. And I would expect that we're probably going to see, similar bans to what we saw in the first couple of games here, Rue. Nothing too much has changed. My biggest question going into the third game is, what is the jungle matchup going to look like? Because I feel like by far these have been the most interesting players with the most interesting, I'll just say, moments of the series on both ends. By the way, I am not flaming one or the other.
Yeah, got to be politically correct, of course, while making our points known, as it will be the same bans by the looks of things coming through. SQS happy to keep banning away Ziggs and whatever else they've been getting rid of. LC starting off with the Neferi. Ivan, of course, up there as well, as we are looking towards those all-important first picks. But you point out jungle. I feel like we're missing a very important jungler so far. Clasper, he's had his Urgot. It looked pretty damn good. He's had his Viego, and it looked good until it didn't. Let's see what else he's got. He has a lot of high win rate champs, a lot of high KDA champs as well. Looking like 5.75 KDA on Lilia. Absolutely insane.
Yeah. I mean,
like 5.6 on Mundo?
A Mundo angle might not be bad here. His biggest counter is the Trundle, and because of Fearless, that's taken off the board. So I wouldn't be surprised if Solo Q Sobriety just say, screw it, let's go Mundo on 1. They don't have anything that can really deal with him properly. Galio as well is another champion that I think Mundo really struggles into, and he's Fearless away. So I think a lot of the really bad matchups, a lot of the really big counters to that pick have been sort of removed from the equation and should be allowing him to multiply their chances of winning should he get picked up. It's also a flex, right? I don't know if 129 has the ability to throw that one in the ring for top lane, but push. But, there's always the possibility.
Absolutely, as we are getting through the final set of first rotation bans, the exact same as we've seen the whole series, Talia and Rumble finalizing those heading into this first pick. I don't mind the Mundo first at all. I think that's a pretty decent shout. You pretend it's a flex, even if it isn't. To some extent, Clasp will be happy to utilize that if it's given. Instead, actually gonna go with the Corki, more commonly seen in bot lane these days, but
has the
Good Samaritan actually has a lot of games on it overall. I don't know if those are mid games or bot games, but he has 18 this season. It
looks like it is actually going to be, I think, Los Cojones on the blue side. I think we switched that out. Ice might have done an oopsie, our production, but it's okay. Everyone, it happens to everyone. Anyway,
could still be mid.
Corki, though, could still be mid, could be bot lane, but I am really interested to see what this gets paired up with. I think one really common pairing with the Corki are things that just allow his Valkyrie to deal a lot of that burn damage, right? So I'm looking at things potentially like the Jarvan, right? I think is an option if you want to go to supports. There are things like the Nautilus that could really just give him the time to dish out that damage. As speaking of damage, SQS are going to be dealing a lot of it, as Kog'Maw is going to be the answer from Zoro. I expect we'll probably see the jungle pairing here, and it is going to be the Sejuani. So kind of leaves the draft open-ended. Things like the Yone are available. A lot of these melee champions that synergize well with this pick are still able to be, thrown in on 3. So it's a question of how else you want to respond. And, you were saying it could be mid. Looks like you're right,
looks like mid. That looks like it's mid to me. Sivir locked in, surely headed over to Moose, as they look to maybe take away a jungler of their own, or maybe just
Jarvan is
ignore it
so good
entirely.
here.
Jarvan doesn't sound awful. Kind of what I'd want, honestly. Maybe even taking away a support, because when you see a Cogmore, there is one support that immediately comes to my mind. Lulu is exactly what you expect. Taking it on Civ isn't awful. I'm actually going to go with the Maokai. It feels like we're in 2023. With signing Maokai into Sejuani. It's LEC from this year, because they only just caught up.
This is like when the first two movies or books, if you're a reader, are really, really good. They're jam-packed, they're action-packed. But then Booker, or movie number 3, is just a really big letdown finale. We have seen these junglers go blow for blow, and honestly, to see it be ended by a Maokai and a Sejuani matchup is a little bit disappointing. It's not going to It's not going to be the Lulu. It's going to be the Rel. And I am really interested to actually see how this works, because I think that Los Cojones are drafting a comp that you really don't want to go into. This is a tough team to break through, with the Corki Valkyrie having, his innate escapes possible, and then things like the Sivir safety. The Maokai as well just dissuades this Rel so hard from going in. I think that if Los Cojones really index into disengage in the second part of draft, they should put a ton of pressure on SQS to notably act early, which is when their comp, notably the Cogma, doesn't want to be disturbed.
Okay, now hear me out. What if they still go Jarvan and put the Maokai in support? Are you happier then?
I smell what you're cooking.
Are you happier if that happens? Because I can see that still happening.
It's also a good counter to Rel, right? In the laning, right? It's not bad. So I could see it
looks like that's what SQS suspect, because they have been banning Gwen as a jungle the whole game, the whole series. It feels like that is where they suspect the Maokai is headed down to this bot lane. The pre-pick to the Rel. I'm so surprised to see a Rel there. I feel like you say Cogmore, and it feels like Lulu slips off the tongue. There's nothing else to think about.
Especially with the engage from Sejuani, I feel like it could have had a lot more value. But I think maybe the mentality is that they just want to have some form of go button other than the Sejuani ultimate, which leads me to believe that maybe solo queue Sobriety's solo laners are going to be a little bit more independent, not necessarily going to have that lockdown, or just going to be used for the damage. And honestly, I think that could be a really deadly comp. If you have damage dealers in mid and top, mix that with the Cogma, this is a comp that if it gets going, if the snowball gets rolling down the hill, it's not going to stop. It's just going to run you over.
Yeah, I think it might also be a Chample thing, if we're being brutally honest with ourselves. It looks like Rexy plays a lot of Engage and doesn't play much Enchanter. Maybe he's not as comfortable doing that type of thing. It's something you always have to bear in mind, right? We're used to watching the Tier 1 scene where you just assume everyone can play anything, right? But that's not always the case, right? People are humans, and especially here, they're more human than average, right? You guys, they're still great players, but they're not the top of the top. That's why they're playing in a cap league. It's to prove they are one of the best players at their elo. It's not to prove one of the best players on the world, because then they'd be playing in Korea, right? And no one here is quite at that level. So it makes sense you're capped out by
Bo3 likes to think he might be, because he has the Korean name.
True. But even then, there are limits. Absolutely.
There are.
As we transition over to our second phase, Gwen and Cho'Gath taken away by SQS, Aurelia and Syndra gone by Los Cojones, as now we turn our attention. SQS, what do you want to see here, mid or top?
Ooh, I feel like it's tough. I want to probably see mid lane here. I feel like saving counter pick for top is it's drafting 101, right? You want to make sure that the matchup is good, and you also banned a lot of the top laners, so I feel like you are certainly opening up to your top laner being a little bit more safe in the laning phases. It looks like our read is correct. Victor in the mid lane. A lot of range from the Victor.
A lot of range, a lot of scaling. SQS, if they get early fights, it's all on the Sejuani Rel. There is no one else to really do much at all. You're going to wait until 400 CS on Victor before you're really excited to start taking those fights. If you get him accelerated early, if you get some freebies, then absolutely go ahead and knock yourself out. But before that happens, it's going to be a lot of waiting around on the Cogmore and the Victor, as LC look to match scaling with scaling. We are going Sivir, Corki, double ADC with an Ornn. Neither of these sides wants to interact with each other pre-30 minutes.
And now the $1 million question, what is going to be this last?
Have to have a stabilizer.
Whether or not this is a Maokai support, whether or not it's a Maokai jungle, I feel like this.
I don't mind Jarvan here at all.
I feel like this is probably going to be a jungle. I love Jarvan here so much, as it is going to be a Maokai jungle, and everybody in the world, including Rue and I, were let down. But still, when we were talking about good pairings for the Corki, I did say that Nautilus was one of them. So at the very least, you have a cohesive bot lane duo.
Yeah, but you say that the bot lane. It's a Sivir in the bot lane. They're not even in the bot lane together.
That is true, but it is still a good bot lane duo. If nothing else, I feel like the job of Los Cojones' bot lane is to just put some sand on this proverbial fire that is the Kog'Maw, right? Make sure he doesn't scale. Don't give this team the opportunity to scale. They have a lot of damage that you have a lot of scaling against. Holy moly, this is a late game monolith.
Yeah, if we reach 45, I'm honestly not even shocked. These teams could go long.
We could turn the stream off.
Like we could just tune in at 30 minutes. I'll be happy. I feel like the only people who even like vaguely want to fight are the junglers. Sejuani, Maokai happy to get down and dirty. But even then, like recently, seeing a lot more AP Maokai in the jungle, going that Liandry's and turning into Riftmaker, you know, those types of builds, they don't mind waiting a little bit. Or you can fight early. He has the go button, but you don't need to go early. The supports will be supports no matter when. Whether they're fighting at level 6, whether they're fighting at level 10, they're still 4 or 5 levels behind the rest of the game, and they're still just as impactful and still just as squishy. They won't care at all when the fights happen. Everyone in this lobby is happy to go long. The question is, are the players individually, the champions are, but are the players ready to go long?
Yeah, I know. This has definitely been an endurance-based series so far. We had a long, arduous game number 1. We had a very topsy-turvy, twisty, windy, twimy game number 2 that I think really tested the mentals of the players. So the question is, are you exhausted? Right? Going into game number 3, how are you going to be able to mentally stabilize yourself in this third and final game? That is a very good question, Rue. My biggest question, though, kind of centralizing us back to the compositions, is how is this Corki supposed to operate in the late game, right? This is another very, very dangerous late game hyper carry drafted by Los Cojones. But honestly, you bring an AK-47, right? It's fully automatic. It does a lot. It's able to one-tap in CSGO. SQS brought not 1, not 2, but 3 bazookas. And even though you've got a nice gun, it doesn't compare to what's on the other side. And I feel like going in, being short range against a Victor, Vladimir, and a Kog'Maw, doesn't matter how well you scale, doesn't matter how fed you are, you have to be careful, and your positioning has to be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, you call a bazooka, but I don't know. It feels like Corki's the one with the rockets in his backpack. I think that's how you have to play it. You play it almost like the Corki of years past. Ignore the package. Just go sending rockets after rockets and hope that your poke is enough, and then the Civic can clean up as we head onto the Rift for game number 3. Los Cojones rocking the blue side, SQS on the red. The team comps are ready to go long. The players, maybe not, maybe still. We will find out. The front lines, though, still a little bit patchy. SQS, I'm not convinced by a Sejuani Rel on the front line.
I feel like the front line, though, is just as important as the back line here for SQS. And it also is worth noting that both Victor and Vladimir get pretty damn tanky the more we go into this game. As Cluster Bang, they will spot out the ward, but they won't be able to hook anybody, won't be able to get any sort of early pressure. All of the members of Los Cojones gravitating toward this top side, dropping that ward, will be met with a mirror ward on the other end. So both sides will get at least some information as to where the junglers are starting.
Absolutely. Raptors on vision for both sides. It is unfortunately that ward lost, though, by the Sejuani. Will not be able to get any extra additional information pre-3:30. Shouldn't matter, though, on the jungle. Only the 1 ward should be enough. You don't know where the other opponent has got that vision. You don't know if it's all over the place. You don't know if it's just one place, right? You don't know if it's just on that Raptor pit as it is, or if it's all over your top side jungle. You do know that your blue side is pretty safe to walk around, but they're going to start on the red side. Both junglers starting on top side as they're going to clear down to bot lane, which honestly feels like the most impactful right now, as that early ward from Moose will get a little bit of an early trade onto a Rel shield. Congrats.
Absolutely, as a trading on that end. We're expecting, I would say, a rather quiet game number 3. We have both junglers starting on the top side of the map, so maybe some action to be had around that crab, similar to what we saw in game number 1, but I think both of these teams are more than happy to be, cordial with each other, just farming away and having a good time in the first few minutes.
Yeah, level 1's still in the bot side. Level 2's starting to pop up around the rift. Mid lane getting there first as per usual. Top lane going the way of 129 early on the Vladimir, as you'd expect. Someone with a bit of extra damage, a little bit less tankiness should be able to get that early prio. Has the range as well with the Q, so all sorts of push in that top side. Early farm advantage for him as bot side. Level 2's have gone over to Moose. They have got that early push into the Cogmore, who is all sorts of setup to go scaling. We have lethal tempo, we have flash and cleanse. Is there anything that can really punish this Cogmore early? Because how do you even get near it late game?
That is the question. I feel like there is just not enough range on the side of Los Cojones early on in this game to warrant the Kog'Maw feeling in danger. In fact, I'm a little bit surprised he actually just didn't go Ghost. Obviously, the cleanse is the safer option, but you, for all intents and purposes, you're the carry, right? Yeah, Rella's gonna go Mikhail's, and you're the big, mean, green carry on the side of SQS, so I feel like the Ghost would help push.
I can't work out who wins these. It looks like 99 Ping might actually win this trade on Ornn. That's a tank, by the way. Surviving a lane against a Vladimir. He's gone summon Airy as well. Like, this is not your typical Ornn, but still winning out in the early trades is definitely something. Interesting how that rune choice will affect the later phase of the game. Summon Airy is not something I'm used to at all on Ornn.
Yeah, you can see on that bot side, Clusterbang and Moose bully off Clasper from that bot side crab, which is going to force him all the way to the top lane. Will delay his reset just a little bit compared to Bo3, who manages to secure the crab, gets the Faded Ashes, will be on the respawn camps in no time. But honestly, I don't really see a world where that priority difference, that timing difference is going to matter, as Clasper actually cancels his back.
Uh-oh. 99 Ping, no dash. Permafrost has stacked up, and one thing I would say about SQS's comp is that they don't really have anything to help this Sejuani, as bot side looks to have the play made. The spell shield will save Moose for a little bit. Actually, Zoro is the one that has to be way more careful, cleansing away from the exhaust, flashing back as well to get some extra space in the lane. A little of an overextension. You're trying to get onto Sivir, who has the spell shield as Corki wants to go forward in mid. CJ stepping forward of the gravity while looking to go very aggressive on the trade. The Gatling gun providing a lot of armor shred, as it does early on. That's why Corki is so strong, but he is now out of mana in that lane.
He's going to probably have to try and look for a back pretty soon. Samaritan also
wants to go Raptors into gank.
I mean, that is an option, but Samaritan also has flash and is under his turret. I'm a bit surprised Corki, after shoving that wave, sacrificing a lot of health and mana, didn't just go for the instant reset. Wanted to be there for his jungler, so we'll delay him a bit. Won't matter too much, though, as the reward for Bo3 is a bit more gold into his coffers. The Clasper, they also will be able to...
Sorry to cut you off there. He popped the summoner, scared of what the Ornn can do, as you were saying.
And no, it's good. I mean, Clasper going to have a little bit less gold than his counterpart, as he does ding level 6. 129 does have the ult. Is actually going to commit it on that trade, so really wants to crash this wave. You can see 99 Ping just is comfortable fighting.
Yeah, this is not a great lane phase early on, as that is the flash as well from 129, getting out of the way of the Ornhorn on the top side. 99 Ping getting the better of this matchup early on is not necessarily what you'd expect, as CJ looks to go aggressive again. This time, though, cannot escape from the gravity well. Will fire the Gatling gun off sideways, and the big one also goes wide.
Bo3 starting up the dragon here. Maokai, a champion that really does not take objectives fast, so will require the assistance of his teammates. They have the priority to do that, though, and that means that Clasper is a little bit homeless at the current moment, for lack of a better term. I mean, he gets his raptors taken away. He takes his top side, There's, I mean, a crab spawning on that part of the map, and if
CJ again, Valkyrie forwards has proved to be very, very profitable for him, and he tries to bait the flash out of Good Samaritan, but he does not bite. CJ didn't necessarily have the threat of going for that flash play himself.
What is he doing?
And he has very overstepped his bounds. We head back to bot side because it's a 3v2 down there. Rexy doing his best to hold on for his ADC. Malkite sends it forwards. Nice Q to send them backwards. Rexy pushed away. The hook connects onto Zoro. No cleanse, no flash. And surely first blood. No, he actually gets it first. Onto
going. God!
As well, the double for the Cogmore, a perfect start. He will lose the wave, but it's 2 kills. I'm sure he won't mind. A little bit of extra gold never hurt anyone, and I believe that CJ actually was able to escape by use of his flash.
So it's double for Zoro. It's 2 for 1 in bot lane. Definitely worth it for SQS. It also does give time for Clasper to look to steal away the blue buff on the top side of the map. So revenge for the chickens.
He has no smite.
He's going to roam to the side of the map, but he's going to be too late. They just queue over the wall. They Arctic Assault, and they have the movement speed. Let's see if they can get away. 99 ping does not have R.
Knock up. If he hit that knock up, I'm sure a play could have been made, but doesn't quite connect with the wall. Should still push the Sejuani away to start off these grubs, but it is a level 6 Sejuani. Even though he doesn't have flash, it's still very scary. Neither jungler has flash, actually, as it will be the early smite. Getting the first one for the Malkite Bow will get that, but then the Glacial Prison comes in, turns around with the Nature's Grasp, gets out the way of the gravity well. The Magnet Storm is lovely. I thought it was a shockwave for a second of where I thought that was coming from, as the Malkite will accept his fate, will take the death. A 3rd kill going over to QSS. Nice hook off the rail. Surely we'll get another one back, as Clasper also queues forward. What is that? A double kill over to Moose. He walked up instead of going down to bot. They sent 99 ping down to bot into the lane where the Cogmore has no summoners. Will flash forwards, get the cleanse out of the Cogmore. Didn't realize he had cleanse, but I'm not really sure what it did in that situation. Zoro realizes how doomed he is and will instead turn his attention over to the wave. Will try and get the wave on a turret, but it won't even go that far. LC get 3 kills after losing the first 3 out of 4. I don't know what's happened. And I mean, all sorts of odd.
And look at LC now, back on the map. They have way more agency when it comes to the river. They have swapped up their bot lane to the top side. They also have 1 grub. If they just take 1 more, they will get the credit for that feat mark. So they're likely just going to do that. Upgraded smite is available for Bo3. It just feels like it was an overextension from LL Clasper. I mean, you got yourself a kill. You could have easily taken your win and moved on, but they wanted more. They greeted for more, and they got smacked down in response.
Yeah, it was a very ambitious queue forwards that was met by the exhaust of Clusterbang, who's now ticked over to level 6 of his own, the last in the lobby to get to that mark. It's pretty early for sports, honestly, getting there this game, but they have stuck around in bot lane for quite a while. 99 ping is stuck in the 1v2 lane. He has been released, at least from top lane, by the Sivir heading up there after going for that play. They might look to change it back, though, as finally it looks like Moose is going for a reset. 99 ping should be short to follow. Actually just going to ignore it because he's on. He can just TP up to the wave and he can craft his items en route. Close now to the Hollow Radiant as well. He wants to stay in the lane against everyone but the ADC. He wants to be fighting against the Vladimir. He wants to be fighting against the Victor, but stick him in lane against the Cogmore and suddenly he's having a couple of issues. As Magnet Storm goes in, they only get a second to breathe. Gravity Well again not going to land. The Arcane Storm though will tick over and they will get the kill onto CJ. Zoro flashing for it, but will definitely be worth. As now they get the Permafrost as well. Nice buffer coming through from Cluster, but he will still fall. A double kill to the Cogmore as Sivir has showed up. On the Hunt is available, but it is just a 2v4 and the back away from QSS. No. Knew I'd do that as well. SQS. We'll get that to safety. There's so many letters that are things that I knew it was going to happen.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, it is SQS that win out on the fight. They get 2 more kills into Zoro's name. Now 420 on the 420 Kog'Maw here for SQS ahead of the Dragon. This would be SQS's first objective period, by the way, because they didn't get the grubs, they didn't get the first Dragon, so this would prevent further stacking of those feats by the side of Los Cojones, which honestly I feel like you need to get that. I feel like you need to get that neutral objective stacking up as soon as possible. Your team significantly outscales the opposition. If you can get the ball rolling on that, then it really feels like there is no real counterpunch available for LC later down the line.
Yeah, but on the other side of things, LC have to be looking early to go for those aggressive objective takes, because they know late game it could be out of their hands entirely. The range advantage, the ability to just turn into a puddle, it can sometimes be a little bit too much. And 120 on the top side did have to burn his ghost once again, but will escape from the Ornhorn this time around. It feels odd that the Orn has had more kill threat in that lane than anyone else, as that Drake is ready for either side. Whoever's bold enough to take it can maybe go for it, as Fasper definitely not bold enough right now, going back to his wolves. Could give a small window over to LC to go for the Drake.
Yeah, they do have the power of those Maokai saplings as well, so they deal a decent amount of damage. Still though, Clasper is pretty tanky in this game.
Orn's going top. They don't realize that Vladimir's coming over here. SQS really want to fight this. They're going to fight this 45, and Moose is caught out in the middle of the river. What are we doing there? Middle of the river, in front of the Dragon Pit, caught literally in no man's land, and just taken out because of it. And now SQS can look to pull the Drake out, pull it to safety, make sure there is absolutely no way on earth you are giving this Drake over to LC. Play it safe, play the 900 smite, smite to 800, because Clasper learns lessons from previous games, and they will take that key objective. An Ocean Rift now spawning as a result of that Infernal Drake being taken, and plus they're not even allowed to race.
Yeah, so first objective there by SQS. They're going to get the late game ball rolling, and I mean, you kind of, you kind of illuminated it perfectly, Rue. Moose just getting caught out in a position they should not be found in whatsoever. They had flash, they had heal, they had all the defense in the world. They just were not in an advantageous position to get out. So not only is it a dragon, it is also a kill. As across the map, the lanes are going to return to somewhat normal, as both top laners are in top lane. We do obviously have the AD carry of Los Cojones, though, in mid. No objective spawning for a decent chunk of time, and I feel like this is the kind of part of the game where you really want to see SQS just farm up as much as possible, right? Detest with conflict, don't look for any fights, farm, scale up, and look to go for that next dragon, rinse and repeat until this Vladimir, this Victor, and this Kog'Maw become Thanos, Darkseid, and Doomsday for all you comic book nerds.
I think honestly that's like the biggest thing they did while taking that Drake, is the fact that it denies the early win con for LC, right? If you're able to fight around Corki power spikes, right? You think 20 minutes, having Triforce Manamune, upgraded Manamune, that is when you are the strongest in the game, bar none. If you can fight then, you're golden. Unfortunately, that doesn't last forever, right? That's when everyone else in the game will finally catch up. Your third item spike, even if you go IE, is not quite the same as other people's. It's not as dramatic. Your Civet might be able to carry you through those fights, but she doesn't have the range right now. Nice flash away from the Glacial Prison, caught as well by Clusterbang as he looks to try and peel away for his support. Depth Charge going to be used on as well. They're making a play out of this. 4 ults used in the mid lane. Can they get a single kill? Magnastorm going to keep them under the turret. Rexy will still fall, and the turret will only chunk Moose out to half. It was tanked up by the Ornn initially, as CJ will also snipe away the Kog'Maw. The retreating, the fadeaway is beautiful from the Corki, and now they can turn the attention up to the Rift Herald, where there is a rogue Vladimir in the middle of nowhere. Puddles away from the hook, and should be Cluster running away. But Moose wants a little bit more action, maybe shouldn't be wanting a little bit more action. Bot lane will fall to the Victor. Good Samaritan will be picking up at least something on the cross map as they are looking to fight this. The Corki didn't base, he's still in the area. Cluster is caught completely out of nowhere. CJ finally turns up to the fight. Will W Forwards will get the kill onto Clasper. Rift Herald still very much up in the air because Bao is still very low in the pit. He cannot escape from this pit either. He has the flash to get over the wall, but there is a dead Corki as a result, and the flash may have just sealed his demise because that is flashing towards a Kog'Maw. He has about 3 HP. W's towards him to try and escape. 99 ping, maybe the target instead, as they look to chunk him down. and they get him caught in the gravity well. They'll dive him under the turret. They'll get that kill instead. How has it turned around there? I don't even know.
It's 2 kills over to SQS. They capitalize off of Los Cojones just overstaying their welcome on the top side. Bo3 manages to get out with a sliver of HP, but that Herald is still up. It is still ripe for the taking. SQS, they're not going to immediately turn their attention onto that objective, but they certainly have the ability to walk into that topside river more so than they did a minute ago.
Yeah, and honestly, like, while the objective isn't being taken, they're just happy to exist. They're happy to let it exist in the pit. It's not harming them. When it starts hitting their turrets, maybe they'll care. But honestly, beyond that, like, it's fine. It's useful if you get it. You might be able to secure a dragon, but you're not going to get mid-tier 1 with it. You've already claimed bot tier 1. Top tier 1 has tons of HP. It's there as a distraction, and if it distracts you from a wave or 2, it might be even more costly than it would be useful.
There's nothing to distract us from the dragon coming up in about 30 seconds. Both teams respectively materializing, gravitating toward this bot side. You can see 99 ping shoves in that wave in top and is now roaming toward that part of the map. Will be seen by that ward. You can also see that the good Samaritan who wanted to catch that wave is just going to match the Ornn in roam timers. But looking at the item spikes right now, you can see that Samaritan does have 2. So this Victor is very strong. You always have to watch out for those Arcane Storm resets. Can be a massive, massive commodity for you as a team if it can just get bigger and bigger as the fight goes on. But the biggest commodity is this dragon. It'll be the second for both teams.
I'm just looking at items right now, and you pointed out 2 items. Victor. He is like Ender of Worlds level right now. No one in the game is close. And like the Corki especially is not close at all as the fight will go through. The Ornn connects onto 4 beautifully. Nature's Grasp will get a root up the gun. The fight does go to the Sejuani. At least that happens for SQS, but it looks like the fight is heading against them unless the Cogmore is able to tee off. Zorro will eventually fall. It's a 3v3, make that a 3-for-4 as Moose is the last one standing. He will fall, and it's an ace for 3. SQS win the fight and they get the Drake. It's perfect for them.
And this is the scary part of these triple threat comps. You cut off 1 head and 2 more grow in its place. The good Samaritan, 129, 1 and 2 items respectively. They deal so much damage in the fight, and Los Cojones, they just can't keep up.
They cannot at all. And look at the bounty that is starting to fall on good Samaritan's head. It's going to grow to almost 1,000 gold kill if they can end up getting it, because he is just that strong right now. You fight a Victor around his 2-item spike, and that's exactly what you receive. You receive a smack in the face, a destruction of your team, and it was easy to see if you pressed tab, but without that, you honestly didn't have a clue what was going to hit you.
Yeah. No, and now coming back from base, the good Samaritan buying those Sork shoes as well as the Blighting Jewel. It also is worth noting, we haven't talked about it yet, but Kog'Maw is one of those 80 carries that deals a lot of mixed damage, right? Just innately does that, but along with the Rage Blade, you are looking at pumping, physical damage, magic damage. It is so hard as Los Cojones to actually build against this comp as the items start to pour in, as Clasper is pouring into topside.
Gonna look for 99 ping, stacking up the permafrost, but he literally only has Rel on his team that can help him, and the Rel is nowhere near. Goes unstoppable to ignore most of that CC as the Sejuani tanks up the Nature's Grasp. A little bit late there from the Maokai, but it was just used as a wave goodbye.
Yeah, so not gonna be able to kill off 99 ping, doesn't even have to expend that summoner spell. This feels like it's SQS on the offensive at the current moment. They look for a pick on top side, they look for a pick on bot side. Their objectives on both,
up, by the way.
Yeah, their objectives on both ends of the map. Otacon, though, is the big one, right? And now Cluster Bang might be the big kill.
What are we doing there? Trying to get some vision is the only excuse I can get for that one. 1v4, all alone, on a very squishy Nautilus. The Locket of the Iron Solari is not going to save you there.
Nope.
If you think it is, then I can't help you. Unfortunately, just too far up, and that will be the split push from Victor as well as the Atakan take. Nearly got in there, did the Maokai. They're actually going to try and make a fight out of this with the Victor on top side, but he has TP. As the Maokai goes in, the Victor is turning up. It is a couple of seconds before the world ends, and they might not even get to that. As 99 ping sends out the turret, they will get the Cogmore, but at what cost? As 129 sends it deep onto the Sivir. Moose no longer living. Both summoners used and completely obliterated by this now 5-0-7 Victor.
It's a 5-0-7 Victor. It's a 5-0-5 Vladimir. These solo laners deal so much damage.
They were meant to be strong later. Why are they strong now?
And I mean, Zoro is just a sacrificial lamb. I mean, this man is dealing so much damage, but every single team fight, Los Cojones say, all right, let's just kill the Kog'Maw every single time. Vladimir be damned, Victor be damned. And yeah, exactly. And we're seeing the product of that mentality in real time. SQS are winning every fight, getting every objective, you know, warding every crevice on the map. The Herald is still up, like you mentioned a couple of minutes ago, Rue, and they are on this top side. It feels like LC just have really nothing to threaten them with. They're going to enter the river, but 129 is right here. The damage has arrived, and the dragon is up in 45 seconds. You have to be everywhere at once as Los Cojones.
Yeah, you have no outer turrets as well. Your vision is impaired at best. Glasses required to play the game now because you just can't see what you used to. They're down 5k gold. They're down a whole lot of turrets. They're down a whole lot of space on the map. Unfortunately, I think your prediction from earlier is right as well. They're down in terms of scaling in this game. They have 2 ADCs. You typically say that's good. But unfortunately, one of them just is not online, as there is Rexy going deep onto 2.
Oh my God.
Will find its way onto Moose, and he just gets bursted out. The Glacial Prison is nicely buffed by Cluster Bang, but there is no top tier 1 to save him. Maokai is basing. Ornn is trying to split push the top tier 1 away. He'll get the Demolish proc, but he won't get much else. Instead, he'll get a face full of 4 champions as they turn up chasing the Nautilus. He tries to Hex Flash over the wall, but he is short to fall. A free Heartsteel stack for the Sejuani will follow, and now 99 ping is next on the agenda. Unless he can somehow escape, he has no TB. It's going to be an 8-second recall.
Let him go.
They're just going to go to the Rift Herald instead, because it's only got a minute until Baron spawns.
I mean, let it go. You get Herald, you have Dragon on the other side. There's no point in chasing an Ornn that likely isn't worth the effort at this point in the game, when you could just be so much more omnipresent around the map. CJ is going to get a turret on the bot side and will chunk out the tier 2, but won't realistically be able to take it, as now Herald acquired, resets coming through. All the members of SQS are about to make this bot side a lot redder.
Yeah, a very dangerous place to be around that Dragon Pit. It hasn't been taken just yet because of that topside play that SQS went for. They got the pick they wanted. They found the numbers advantage to go for the Rift Herald before it disappeared, before the worm slithered through the river. Instead, now is the time they turn their attention to that Ocean Drake. A soul point is the reward for this fight if they can take it. Otherwise, it will be 2 Drakes apiece, but they find the way onto that. And that is a disgusting Glacial Prison. They've already destroyed the Sivir, and sure, it might cost your Sejuani. Who cares at the end of the day?
He's alive!
Because you still have a Rel going strong, and it doesn't even cost you Sejuani. Clasper lives those, and the Arcane Storm is now going strong. 129. The last kill looking to find is CJ. Goes into a puddle, murders him in his sleep, and it is a clean 5-0. Not what I expected when the Sejuani was face tanking like that, but it's exactly what you think it is. It's a Sejuani, of course it can face tank, as they look to dance with Shelly in the Nexus.
I mean, they can realistically look to end. They have the Herald here. One turret will fall. They've got the empowered autos from the Victor. One game was a slugfest. The other one was a reverse sweep. The mental gymnastics here in game number 3. We didn't know how it would end, but SQS assure us that they're here to stay.
Absolutely are. 26-minute slapping in game number 3. They had the scaling advantage, but they did it before that even mattered. They just got ahead.
They came online way quicker than we thought. That was absolutely insane. It was a masterclass in playing a triple threat comp, honestly. really have to give a lot of credit, I think, over to 129. This man is a support player. He is not a top laner. And yet in all 3 games, dare I say, he was one of the most relevant pieces on the board. Being auto-filled and being as relevant as you are, not an easy task, especially when you are in a do-or-die series that will dictate whether or not you have something to do on your Monday nights for the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, but that is exactly the point of today. There is nothing else for LC to do on their Monday nights. They are out of ADL in not necessarily the earliest phase. There was a week before this that they could have fallen out of, as a couple of teams did, but it's the second earliest phase, I guess. Week 6 is all they can make, as they will end up falling to solo queue Sobriety. The 4 seed loses to the 5. And that sets up the playoff brackets nicely as solo queue Sobriety go through as a wild card from Ascension.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations to solo queue Sobriety. You know, heart goes out to Los Cojones. I feel like everyone knows how it feels to get eliminated, to not make it as far as you would have liked, but still, it was a hard-fought series back and forth. It was a damn fun game number 2, if nothing else, so they should be proud of that one. But that is going to do it here for us on Monday. Tune in next week as the BO5s are going to start. A reminder that we will be beginning our streams an hour earlier to accommodate for the best of 5s and the added time it is going to take to, you know, cast more games. So just a little bit of a PSA for all of you going in to the future weeks of the ADL. I have been Quacks. That has been Rue. Ice on production. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and we will see you all next week. Take care.